What's going on, everybody? Sorry, I'm on a literally 3 minutes late. My bad. I was having some technical problems, so I had to fix that up. But hey, 3 minutes late ain't that bad. I'll stay 3 minutes later. How about that? Today we're gonna talk about Canelo Alvarez. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this after the live, I go live every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. As you guys will see, this is a live interaction show. So if you guys ever feel like you guys want to call in, again, on 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, you could watch me live. And I always put the link at the top of the chat. I always leave that available for anybody who wants to be a part of the conversation, wants to ask me a question, or even if you want to debate, the link is always pinned to the top of the chat. I haven't done that yet, but live just started. But yeah, today we got a lot to talk about. We got Canelo Alvarez, heavily rumored that he's going to take the DAZN deal and fight Bivol and Triple G. Is going to be a 2-fight deal. That's one of the rumors. And also April 16th, I believe it is, right? Let me check. Yeah, April 16th, Errol Spence versus Jordanis Ugas in AT&T Stadium. And that's, if you guys don't know, that's where the Dallas Cowboys play in Arlington, Texas. So it's official, a 3-belt unification in the welterweight division, the division that's considered, probably the second most glamour division in all of boxing. That's a big fight. It's Errol Spence's first fight back since, what was it, October of 2020 or something like that. It was last time. He hasn't fought in a long time. No, he hasn't fought in December 2020, excuse me. So, it's a comeback fight. It's in the welterweight division. It's for a 3-belt unification. In the Ring magazine, this is 2 versus 3. Like, this is a big fight. Now, is it the fight we want? The fight we want is Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. That's obviously the fight we want. But us getting this fight ain't that bad. That's not a bad deal at all. At all. Alberto Figueroa, mi hermano, que lo que? April 16th, gonna be a showdown. Yeah, I hope they stack the undercard. Hope they give us some good undercards. Yeah, because unfortunately we sometimes don't get good undercards. Well, I mean, to be honest, to be fair, PBC always gives us some kind of entertainment. You know what I'm saying? To PBC, they don't shit on us when it comes to the pay-per-view. But I just pinned. Let me pin it to the top of the chat. Hold on one second. But yes, for you guys who want to call in and be a part of the conversation, I'm gonna pin the link at the top of the chat for you guys, and that way, if anybody has anything to say, they could definitely join me and be a part of the conversation. But yeah, so but let's talk about this Canelo deal. Let's talk about how Canelo Alvarez is rumored to be sign a 2-fight deal with DAZN. Let's go to the ESPN article that was written by Mike Coppinger. Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin at long last are on the verge of a trilogy fight. Alvarez and Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing are closing in on a 2-fight deal worth upward of $85 million for boxing's top star to compete on DAZN, sources told ESPN. The first fight would pit Alvarez against light heavyweight title holder Dimitri Bivol on May 7th in a return to 175. Provided Alvarez wins, as expected, he would defend his undisputed 168 championship against Triple G in a long-awaited grudge match September 17 per sources. So if he were to take the DAZN deal, it will automatically be a 2-fight deal. I personally do not like this deal, to be honest with you. I do not want to see Bivol in a fight against Canelo Alvarez. He's somebody who is not known to the public. He's somebody who is a very boring personality, very boring style. I don't even know if he speaks English. His last fight was in Russia, not in a stadium, in some fucking little arena where he probably was only like 1,000 people. This dude is not a draw in his own country. You're going to give him a Canelo fight? Seems wrong to me. Oh, I got a first caller already. Jay, what's up, mi hermano? ¿Qué lo que?
What's good, bro? Chilling, ya tú sabes. Yo, listen, man. I wanted to get in early because these announcements are kind of crazy to me. They come out of nowhere, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man.
With Spence and Ugas, I mean, nobody was really asking for that. But,
No,
I mean, I get it, you know. But everybody wants Crawford, bro.
I listen. I agree. I agree. And right now, Crawford don't have a fight, and I think Crawford would take the fight. But Crawford has said in the past, "Oh, I don't want to take him coming off that accident. I want to take him now because I don't want to take him right after his accident. So he had the Danny fight, but now he had eye surgery. So he's probably feeling the same way. Like, I'm not gonna get full credit. Let him fight.
Yeah, he wants
Uh,
him at his best.
yeah, exactly. Let him fight
I get it.
Ugas. And Ugas a good fighter. Now, do I
Ugas
want to see
ain't
that?
no comeback fight type dude though.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah,
was
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say.
No, but what Errol Spence says, he goes, yo, listen, fuck a tune-up. I'm not a tune-up type guy. That's what Errol Spence be saying. So if that's the way he's feeling, let's just say he comes back and knocks out Ugas. Now he has 3 belt. The only belt remaining is Terrence Crawford. It becomes a bigger fight, but it's a risky fight to take
Yeah,
when
you
you got
bite him in
such
his
a big
ass.
fight looming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
then
that's how boxing is, man. Boxing, we never get the fight when we want it. We get it always a little too late, or sometimes not at all. Look at Joshua Wilder.
everything is over marinated, bro. Let
For
it
real,
marinate, let it
man.
marinate, and look what
Too
happens.
much, too much salt on the fucking chicken, man.
You already know, bro. And then this thing with Canelo, like, bro, are you trying to unify 175? Because if that's the case, then say that. But Bivol, like, bro, guaranteed that's gonna be one of his worst selling pay-per-views ever. Because they're gonna make it a pay-per-view. You know it.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I mean, with the Bivol is gonna be a hard sell for a pay per view, but the Triple G fight, like, as some people don't look at it as a competitive fight, but there's a lot of casuals who are familiar with with Triple G, and those first 2 fights, man. In terms of entertainment value, listen, those first 2 fights when I paid that fucking pay per view, I got my money's worth.
Word. Plus, Triple G's the last guy that was competitive with Canelo. Everybody else, Canelo been blown away.
I
Let's be
mean,
real.
Kovalev was competitive until he got knocked out. Caleb Plant was
Sorry.
competitive till he got knocked out. Billy Joe, some people don't like to give him credit because they just say Canelo was measuring him out. And I don't want to discount it because the guy ended up breaking his face. But before he got his face broken, he was a bit competitive. But I want to say, I want to give full credit to Kovalev. Kovalev, he really put up a good fight until he just got caught.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it is? Kovalev has that chin, bro. After Andre Ward exposed that chin, it was a wrap after that.
Not
So
really
that
is the body work that Andre Ward did, breaking him down. That's really what Canelo really just took that game plan, breaking down the body, had him worry about the body, and then just caught him with that vicious left hook to, like, it wasn't even like the chin, it was like the neck. And
word.
it just seemed to, like, kind of discombobulate him. He just rocked him with the right hand and knocked him out cold. That was a pretty
Crazy.
fucking sick knockout. And
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
good fight. A lot of people don't remember. That was a good fight.
Nah, that shit was fire. I got one more question. My last question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What did you make of Keith Thurman's performance, even though he didn't get the knockout against a smaller dude, and Tank did get, stop that guy. What did you make of the performance overall? Because I think he looked, I don't know, for me, he looked sharp
He
considering the
looked
rust.
really sharp in the beginning, but then he started to fade. He got hurt by a body shot, and people making a lot about him not getting the stoppage. He says he hurt his hand. Also, there were 10-ounce gloves, not 8s. So I don't know what difference that makes. Also, Mario Barrios, before the Tank fight, let alone before the Thurman fight, was saying how moving up in weight is going to help him with his punch resistance. So we do have to take those things in consideration, because there was a lot of times where I'm like, damn, if those were 8s, he might be gone, because he got rocked up a bunch of times. Like, there was a lot of times he was beating him up where I thought the corner should start considering throwing the towel. Like, I never thought, like, officially, like, no, throw the towel, but I just thought there were times where I'm like, they should consider it. But then
Yeah,
once he
Barrios
started
nose looked
fading,
crazy.
like 7th or 8th round, which I predicted. If you watch my prediction video, you would see I actually predicted that Keith Thurman will win easily those first 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds and then start fading. I literally exactly how I thought the fight was gonna go. That's exactly how the fight went. So, but yeah, I thought his performance was good, especially off a 31-month layoff. That's a long time. And Mario Barrios is not a bum. I didn't like his game plan. He was very straight up. I felt like he needed to change eye level more often. I felt like he needed to go to the body more often, be more aggressive, as opposed to keeping a fight from the outside just because you're the taller fighter. Sometimes that's not going to be in your best interest when you're fighting an explosive fighter.
Yeah, I was surprised how much bigger he looked than Thurman. That was weird.
Yeah. No, Keith, getting back to what I think about Keith Thurman, man. Keith Thurman, those first 6 rounds look so explosive, man. So explosive.
Yeah, bro. You already know, man. Yo, you got a lot of content coming out, bro. Kudos
Yeah.
to you, man. You've been working your ass off.
Yeah, man. I'm working my ass off, and I'm about to have a guest on right now. So yeah, I'm hustling, man. I'm making mad connections. I'm gonna start going to gym, start interviewing people. So you got some of your favorite fighters are gonna be on my YouTube channel. Like I'm gonna be surprising a lot of motherfuckers. Trust me, man. I'm working. A lot of times when I don't put out content, people be like, "Damn, you slacking." And it's like you don't know what I'm doing behind the scenes. Like sometimes I'm in these meetings, sometimes I'm having conversations, sometimes I'm negotiating with certain people. You know, it's things are moving fast, and I'm excited, man.
You already know, man. Keep it going, bro. Good looking.
Yo, Jay, my brother. You know, you always give me your support. I really always appreciate you, my brother.
Always. You already know.
All right, man.
Good.
Yo, shout out to my man Jay, my Dominican brother, Brooklyn brother too. So, you know, we got that connection. What's your prediction for the Ugas Spence fight? I'm not gonna give a prediction yet. Because hold on one second. I'm not gonna make a prediction yet because I like to make my prediction videos and put it out, and that way people know my videos. But I'm not gonna not answer your question. The way I look at Spence Ugas is it's a good fight, it's competitive 50-50 fight, but we don't know how much Spence has left. It's a long layoff for Spence. It does Errol Spence eye hold up? There's a lot of variables as to why Ugas could win this fight. And and Ugas is a good fighter. A good fighter. All right, hold on, guys. I have my guest that's gonna come on. My guest, Jake Donovan. You guys are says device not connected. Oh, there we go. Hey Jake, how's it going?
Good. What's up, man? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, man.
Oh,
Thank you so much for coming on. I know it was kind of last minute, but a lot of boxing news happened. I was like, I got to get my man Jake on.
Yeah, man. Nah, it's been a crazy couple of days. It's supposed to be like a nice slow week, and all of a sudden, all these big stories are breaking. So, good time for us.
What do you make of Canelo? Is he seriously considering that the zone deal, or is he just doing that to drive up the price on PBC? Because I don't see him wanting to fight Bivol. What does that 175-pound title mean to him? He's already been a titleist at that weight. It's not like he's fighting the lineal champion.
Right. So I think it's the other way around. I think it started out, he wanted to do business with Eddie. He got a price. Then he went to PBC. My understanding is that he likes doing business with Eddie Hearn. They have a very good relationship, nice little bromance going. But he likes the money that comes with, doing pay-per-views on Showtime. Mm-hmm. So he got the offer for the what would have been a fight with Jamal Charlo. And then I guess he went back to to Eddie and the zone and said, well, this is what I can make there. What can you do for me there? So the 2-fight deal does confuse me because my understanding, I know he did a 2-fight deal with Eddie last year, but it was to fight Yildirim in a mandatory and then get Billy Joe Saunders. They were willing to invest in that, knowing that there was no guarantee they would get the Caleb Plant fight, which they didn't. So doing a 2-fight deal now, I mean, they had to get the zone to really pay up, which they are. I know Cop put out a number of $85 million. My understanding, and Keith Ideg actually has more details on this, is that $85 million is the minimum that he's guaranteed. That he could make pretty much $100 million, maybe even low. I mean, it depends on how well a third fight with Triple G would do if they get there. But yeah, he can make anywhere from $85 to $100 million for this 2-fight deal. That's a tough deal to turn down. I don't care who he's fighting on the zone, and I don't care who he would have fought on Showtime. 80 for that. That's even for a rich guy like Canelo, that buys a lot of Dolce & Gabbana pajamas.
$100 million. I'm
Yeah.
all right now because I'm like 85. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
wasn't the Charlo deal something like for 40 or 45 or something?
Somewhere,
I'm like,
somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's somewhat around the same number, and that's just guarantee money. That's not including pay-per-view numbers.
Yeah.
And if he did 800,000 with Caleb Plant, I think he could hit $1 million with Charlo.
That is the theory, that the Charlo pay-per-view might have outsold Caleb Plant. That there might be something to it. Charlo might have that fan base that maybe didn't buy the Caleb Plant fight. I'm not sure I can imagine it, but I think it would have done very comparable numbers. So whatever upside he got from that pay-per-view, yeah, he probably would have made in the same range. So that is what made him go back to the zone and say, well, this is what you're gonna have to pay me.
Yeah.
I don't want to jump too far ahead in our conversation. The one thing I don't like is if both fights are going to be on pay-per-view on the zone. I know that the zone was looking to go to pay-per-view this year, and I figured that was going to be the only way we get a third fight with Triple G, which I couldn't care less about, to be honest. But I mean, if we're talking about Canelo and Bivol on pay-per-view, that's kind of ass, and I don't.
No, listen,
I'm not a fan of that part of it.
I don't know if you were on if you were hearing before you came on, but I'm like, who the fuck wants to see the Bivol fight? Now the Triple G fight. Now I don't look at that as a competitive fight, and as a hardcore, I know that Triple G's a little bit older, but amongst casuals, man, Triple G is still like somebody they look at as a very familiar name, somebody who they saw him fight Canelo 2 times very competitively. So I think that fight sells well. But the Bivol fight just does absolutely nothing for me or the casual fan. This guy's boring.
Right. So yeah, exactly. Weirdly, the Bivol fight, the theory would be if Canelo beats Bivol, that was Eddie's sales pitch. Canelo beats Bivol, then he goes after the Joe Smith, Beterbiev winner, assuming they fight this summer. And then he becomes undisputed in 2 different weight divisions. But Eddie has no path to. He can't guarantee, that Canelo could get. I mean, he has nothing to do with Joe Smith. He has nothing to do with Beterbiev. So all he could do is offer that fight. And then, ESPN could say, well, yeah, we want that fight, but we want Canelo to come on ESPN. Why would they send the winner over to the zone? So everybody's going to want to be in the Canelo business at that point. So, but I mean, he's not even offering that, though. That all Eddie can, not even guarantee, but where he has a pathway to is the Bivol fight. And then get Triple G on board if he beats Ryota Murata, which is, like you said, at this stage of his career, no win is guaranteed these days against anyone in the top 10. He should beat him, but, who knows what he has left. He hasn't fought in more than a year. So, but that's all that Eddie can guarantee. So for that reason, I'm with you. I'm not – the Bivol fight is just not a sexy fight. To me personally, both fights are interchangeable. If I got to pay $75 for either one, I really don't care who he fights personally. But I like the Bivol fight with the idea that there is a next fight after that. If he's going to fight Charlo, I want to know that the winner is going to fight David Benavidez. If Charlo beats Canelo, I absolutely want to see him fight Benavidez. If Canelo goes to the zone, I still want to see Charlo and Benavidez fight each other. But if Canelo goes to the zone, I don't know who Charlo's fighting next.
Well, I mean, if we're being honest, the way PBC does business is they just have him fight C and D level fighters and wait for Canelo. That's basically how they've been handling all these guys' careers. I don't trust PBC to be like, all right, now Caleb Plant is gonna fight Charlo or Benavidez or Benavidez and Charlo. I don't trust PBC to do that. I think they look at that as bad business. They look at those fighters as Canelo lottery tickets. Caleb Plant got his, and they're just gonna wait out until Canelo, becomes a free agent again and offer them Benavidez and Charlo. That's just the way I see it. Am I being a pessimist?
No, I hear you, man. I hear you on that. I mean, it worked last year, but that well eventually runs dry. And we're seeing Fox they're not out of business, but no platform has dropped off since the pandemic more so than Fox Sports. Oh. They've almost given up on the sport. The only thing they have to offer is pay-per-view, but they can't put Jamal Charlo and Caleb Plant and on, Anthony Durrell and all these guys. They can't put them on pay-per-view, whether it's undercards or main events, if they're not fighting each other. So how much can you keep building Jamal Charlo? If Canelo is signing a 2-fight deal with the zone, how do you explain that, okay, we're just going to put Jamal on ice for another year and hope that Canelo comes back around in 2023? Or even Benavidez. I mean, to me, it seems clear that he really doesn't want to fight David Benavidez. I'm not saying he's, running from him, but it just doesn't seem to be a priority to him, whether it's he doesn't want to fight another Mexican or he just doesn't want to take that risk. But, he'd rather just, make more money elsewhere.
Yeah, I just think like Canelo's he's somebody who looks for legacy. So Benavidez not only doesn't have a belt, his resume is very weak, and I just think Canelo just doesn't respect him as a fighter. Like, yeah, he sees the talent, but I just think Canelo just goes, all right, if I beat you, like your name on my resume in 10 years isn't gonna look like nothing because you haven't beaten nobody.
Right. I can see that. What I would like to see, I mean, Benavidez is going to be fighting for the interim title. I suppose he's going to be fighting David Lemieux, I think sometime in April. So from there, what they really have to do at that point is they have to force the WBC's hand. I know that's asking a lot, but Benavidez is supposed to be guaranteed a shot at Canelo already. Canelo got to fight for the undisputed. Benavidez is supposed to get a shot back at the title. That was what's promised to him. That's why he's fighting for the interim title. They can't keep it as interim champion for a year. The WBC, I don't know if they care about saving face, but I know you smiling, man.
I'm like, come on, like we know
he's got Samson behind him, he's got Al behind him. You have to drive that. It has to become a campaign at that point. You can't just have Benavidez calling him out. It has to become a full-blown campaign. Once Benavidez gets that interim title in his hand, whoever Canelo fights next, he says, "I'm fighting the winner, or give me your damn title." And then you can start making these other fights on the PBC side. Then a Benavidez-Charlo fight becomes something. Benavidez-Caleb Plant becomes something. Benavidez and Anthony Durrell. All these fights suddenly mean something, not just fighting for some BS interim title.
Yeah. No, you know what's gonna happen? For whatever reason, let's just say Canelo fights Beterbiev and then he wants to fight Triple G, but the WBC is mandating Benavidez. He's just gonna go the franchise route. Like, you get what I'm saying? And it's not that he's ducking Benavidez. Listen, I think Canelo knocks out Benavidez easy. I think people look at Benavidez's potential because he's such an aggressive, mean fighter, which I love mean fighters. But in terms of skill-wise, he does sometimes square up. He does sometimes seems very predictable. Yeah. And with Canelo, you cannot square up because he'll eat up that body. And if you become predictable, he's such a hard hitter, he can knock you out. And so I don't even see this as that competitive of a fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Canelo feels the same way, but Canelo, he's definitely on that. There's a very, very short list in boxing, and Canelo's certainly at the top of it. Of guys, whoever he's going to fight, he's earned that right by now. People can question all the while. I mean, I've seen people like chats are starting up, like, I can't believe Canelo's ducking Charlo. It's like, he can do whatever he wants. Charlo has very few wins on his resume. I mean, I'd see a greater campaign for Jamel Charlo more so than Jamal. Jamal has just milked it ever since he's been to middleweight. He has one decent win there. He beat Derevyanchenko, and that win has already aged horribly. Derevyanchenko has 0 quality wins at middleweight. Maybe Toriano Johnson. That's about it. So, but he just lost. So, I mean, what's the pathway for Charlo? Does he stay at middleweight? Does he fight Carlos Adames next? Does he wait out? Maybe Munguia fights Adames if he beats Demetrius Ballard next week. I mean, there's a long wait for Charlo if he doesn't fight someone relevant next.
Yeah, and the thing, and obviously the fight with Andre doesn't seem like it'll ever happen.
Andre's already going on another path anyway. That's what I'm saying. Everyone else already has their next path. If Charlo was solely depending on Canelo to call his name next, then that's some miserable planning, not just by him but by PBC as well. You have to have a plan B.
Would you take the DAZN deal if you were Canelo, or would you take the? I mean, you don't know the numbers exactly, so that's a hard question to ask.
If you're guaranteed $85 to $100 million, yeah. I mean, and he thinks he's gonna knock out Triple G this time around. It could be a Pacquiao Marquez series where we thought Juan Manuel Marquez didn't have anything left by that third fight, and he still turned out to be that kryptonite for Manny Pacquiao. So Triple G could be that for Canelo. You never know. So I don't think either win is guaranteed. It's possible Bivol finds a way to outbox him.
So you think so you think Canelo is seriously considering this offer? Do you think most likely he's going to take it? Like, you think, or is it still a chance?
I would have thought for sure he was going to take the Charlo fight. I didn't think DAZN was going to be able to come up with enough financial package to pull him away from whatever money he can make with Showtime pay-per-view to fight Charlo. And then, as you said, if that fight does better than Plant, that's a greater pay-per-view aside for him. DAZN has stepped it up. They found the money to pull him away. And now it's on up. Now PBC has to decide, do we want to dump $100 million in this guy? Do we make that back with him fighting Charlo and Benavidez? Does he agree to fight David Benavidez? So if it's the same money, he's going to look at the DAZN side and say, those are 2 more winnable fights than beating Charlo or Benavidez.
I guess, yeah. I guess if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, would I rather make $100 million fighting 2 easier fights than $100 million making 2 harder fights? Right. It makes more sense just to go the easier route. All right. All right.
I guess it depends on what he feels is easier, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but the thing is with the Bivol fight, I don't
Mhm.
necessarily have a problem with it competitive wise. I think it's a competitive fight,
Yeah.
but I just think Bivol is not only boring in the ring, he's boring outside of it. Like,
right. He's
this
not
dude
going to
has
build up
no
that fight
pers-
at all.
What
Yeah.
was that?
No, I say he's not going to build up that fight at all. At least with the Caleb Plant fight, it seemed like, genuine hatred, at least up until, they hugged it out afterwards. Same thing with Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, neither of those guys, quote unquote, earned a Canelo fight. Caleb held on to that belt until Canelo finally called his name. Billy Joe Saunders, he didn't have any real wins in super middleweight. He was just the next white guy in line for Canelo to go beat on. I mean, come on, let's keep it a buck, man. That's what it was. I mean, Canelo just lined these guys up and took them all out, and then Bivol it's kind of more of the same. If you think
Somebody told me he's like, Canelo's the undisputed European champion. He's like, he beat a bunch of white boys to become undisputed.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah,
come on,
I know.
man.
So
Like,
if
they
you
had
want
a
to see,
belt.
right, exactly. So that's the thing. You want to see him beat an African American in the prime. That's what made the Charlo fight so so appealing. But
yeah, honestly,
I don't know. I think you and I are on the same page with the Bivol fight.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a bad business move.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say bad business, I know you're probably like 85 to 100 million. How could that be bad? I feel like it's bad for your brand. You attaching yourself to these guys at this stage of your career right now. Strike while the iron's hot, man. Take the Charlo fight, because you beat Charlo, your stock goes up.
Mm-hmm.
The next time you go to negotiate, hey, listen, I just became undisputed, and I just beat Charlo, who's somewhat of a big name. That fight could sell out in AT&T Stadium or whatever.
Right. I'm with you. I mean, yeah, he's going to drive that Bivol fight, and like I said, if the Zone decides that's going to be their first pay-per-view, that's going to make it a rough sell. I was on board when Canelo decided. I shouldn't say decided, when it was suggested that he will take that deal, because I thought it was going to be Bivol on the Zone, and then maybe the Zone goes pay-per-view with the Triple G fight, because I know they're going to go pay-per-view at some point. But to go pay-per-view straight out the gate and not have it on the Zone at all, that's going to be a tough, especially since we're going to have 3 pay-per-views in 4 weeks now. Because we got Spence and Ugas the 16th. ESPN Plus is doing the Fury Dillian White on pay-per-view in the US. I was hoping that would go at least ESPN Plus on our side, but we're getting pay-per-view for that. So I mean, 3 and 4 weeks, that makes it even tougher. So
yeah, I mean, and to be honest, so you've heard that it's gonna be a pay-per-view? Like, let me get confirmation on that.
I can't say that for sure. My understanding was that he was going to take the 2-fight deal, and then at least one of them would be pay-per-view. Keith Heidick has more info than he tweeted out earlier that both fights were going to be pay-per-view. So if he's saying that, Keith doesn't tweet shit just to tweet it.
No.
So
I trust Keith Heidick.
Inside information. So.
Yeah, no, I definitely trust Keith Heidick.
No, exactly.
All right, because I don't see nowhere on the Mike Coppinger article about pay-per-view.
Yeah, no, he left it ambiguous. I mean, he just he had a good lead on Canelo leading toward this. A few people knew about it. Mike found out about it. So he did his due diligence and reported on it. So give him credit. He got the story first.
Yeah, nah, man. I gotta talk to the president of the Zone, man. Like, we already getting fucked with PBC on the pay-per-views. Now you're gonna give us Bivol Canelo on pay-per-view?
Yeah, I mean, when they first started talking about that, which this fight isn't even guaranteed at all, but Kambosos and Ryan Garcia, that if they fight, that would go pay-per-view. I think that's crazy. If that doesn't come with your DAZN subscription, I mean, damn. But then now to go bring pay-per-view all the way this, which means they might do at least 3 pay-per-views this year. I don't know, man. I don't like the direction, a lot of the sport is going.
The thing is with DAZN, like, listen, you don't think I know I could illegally stream all these fights? I pay my DAZN subscription. If they're gonna start giving pay-per-views, I may be going to a friend's house, going to a friend's house to go watch these fights.
You're gonna listen to it on the radio. I hear you, man.
Yeah, it's
right,
like,
yeah, listen,
I'm paying my money, and I always tell my subscribers, hey, man, pay for the fight. It's for the fighters. Don't illegally stream fights, especially if I feel that the fights are quality. But if you're gonna give me all these pay-per-views, it's ridiculous. By the way, have you heard? Okay. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it does make it tough. Like, people like you and I, we do the annual subscription because we watch everything. So spending $99 a year, it makes more sense than $20 a month. But if they are going to do the pay-per-view model, that makes it a tougher sell to say, okay, I'm going to pay for the year, because now you don't know what you're getting from month to month. you might be getting like, Fox downgraded to these FS1 level shows for their main, thing. What if if the zone goes that same route, we're gonna feel cheated all of a sudden.
No, yeah, and these fucking UK cards, they don't do it for me, man. They really don't. These British championship fights and dudes who can't punch, can't take a punch. Oh, there's a bunch of Mexicans knocking everybody out over there.
Right.
I don't know. The zone got to get their shit together.
At least we got Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano.
I'm most likely gonna be there.
I will be there. 100% be there. So
my girl's she's due on the 21st, but you never know with these things. So, but I'm gonna try my best to sneak out, even if my son is born.
No doubt, I will be there.
Yeah. Maybe we'll link up out there.
No doubt. 100%.
Yeah. Do you know how many pay-per-view buys the Thurman fight sold? I heard rumors that it sold around 200,000.
That'd be very generous if that hits it. I didn't hear any firm number. That number would very surprise. I think PBC. I think we might see Tim Smith do some backflips if it's
No. The thing is, I was like, I actually didn't research it myself. I heard it from like on Chicken Talk when one of the guys said that. I was like, what? I couldn't find it. I was like, you know what? If I get Jake on, I'll ask him.
I didn't see it trend. Like, I haven't heard anything. Usually I wait till like the Friday after a pay-per-view to get a more, to get a better grasp on like how it's trending. But I didn't get that sense at all. I know the Fox portion did well, but that doesn't always tell the whole tale. So
I'll hit you up. I'll hit you up later in the week.
I'd be surprised if it did 150, to be honest.
Yeah. I had ran a poll. On my YouTube about like, all right, are you gonna buy it? Are you gonna illegally stream it, or are you just not gonna watch? And let me get the exact number right now. So it was out of 140 votes, 18 said that they're gonna buy it, 57% said they're not gonna buy it, and 25% they're gonna legally stream it.
Wow.
So I'll be surprised if they did 200,000, but that's what they said.
Yeah, I'd have to say, I don't know. I'd have to hear find out the source on that one, but I don't believe it's going to hit that number. Like I said, if it does 150, I think that'd be a victory for that card. I kept my mouth shut about that card. I don't like being negative. I'm not going to be the reporter that says, you don't buy this pay-per-view. You must protest. Like, to me, if you want to protest, just don't, just leave it, let it be. Don't acknowledge the card at all, which I knew I was covering the DAZN show anyway, but to me, it wasn't a show where I'm going to spend $75 and go catch up on it, because it was 4 fights where like Jesus Ramos, that's really the only upside for any of those guys. Well, yeah, it's fun to have Keith Thurman back, but I had to break the story that his fight wasn't even a final eliminator. They tried to pitch it. Thurman went on a PBC platform and said that his fight, the winner is going to get, the Spence Ugas winner. That wasn't true. So it's like there's no guarantee. It was 4 fights. All 4 of them are just leading to another fight. Like Luis Neri isn't even getting a title shot next because Danny Roman is ahead of him. Yeah. So I didn't see any value in that pay-per-view. It was very disappointing. And even just watching the build up to it on Fox, it felt very depressing. Like they're going all the way back to 2016 and 2017 just to talk about Keith's career. It's like, how are we selling a pay-per-view this way? Even Mario Barrios, like his one notable win was Akhmadov, who he barely beat. I had him winning. Some people had him losing, but that's like his one notable. He's a hell of a guy. A tough fighter. I enjoy interviewing him all the time. Very nice guy, but there was nothing really to sell on this pay-per-view. So I don't know. 200,000.
Yeah, I didn't believe it either. I didn't believe it either, which is why I wanted you on for multiple reasons, mostly Canelo. But I was like, before I do my research, I think Jake would just know more than me. He'll know where to look. But if you're not saying, I'll probably hit you up later during the week, see if you could.
There was just no engagement for this card.
I mean, to be fair though, the undercard in terms of entertainment value was actually fun to watch.
The 2 fights on Fox, they were banging, man.
Juarez
and Ryan Call, man, those boys threw, man.
They definitely went at it.
Yeah, Lucas Santamaria, some reason, keeps getting these damn decisions. I don't know how he does, but I thought Abel Ramos won that fight. But they always do a good shot. They do a good job with the matchups itself.
I thought Abel Ramos won as well, but I did like what Santa Maria was doing, particularly later in the fight.
Yeah, that seems to be his gift. Yeah, that's how he pulls these fights out. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So Jacobs, he's fighting John Ryder. Is that a real fight? Like, and what I mean real is like, is that like a competitive fight?
I think so. I mean, I don't know what to make of Danny Jacobs at 168. I mean, I think you might agree. I thought Gabe Rosado beat him when they fought. So
honestly, I think they both lost. I think they both should have a loss.
There you go. That's probably a better way to describe it. But yeah, he certainly didn't impress. I mean, he didn't even look all that great against, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when, up until, Chavez had to quit because of his nose. But he just hasn't, I haven't really seen anything from him since the Canelo fight. Okay, he's not this elite guy anymore, and he might not have ever been here. To me, he's always good enough to hang with the best. But
yeah,
John Ryder's a tough dude.
I'm not too familiar with him. That's why I wanted to ask you. But Daniel Jacobs, it just seemed to me once he got that, I believe he got paid $15 million to fight Canelo. Once he got that big money, like I think he was just satisfied and and kind of enjoying his money. He grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. Probably a poor kid, and now he got $15 million in the bank. It's kind of easy to see how he can just relax and calm down and not focus as much as he used to.
Yeah, that's the blessing of being with Keith Connolly, man. He's going to make it that money. So, Keith got him. Yeah, got him paid.
Who do you have winning that fight?
I think Jacobs will find a way to win a decision. I think it's going to be it'll be a statement if he knocks him out. I mean, John Ryder's had some rough patches in his career, but I thought he beat Callum Smith. He should have won the title. He could have been the guy fighting Canelo. Jacobs, his chin is not the greatest, so it's a fight where the other guy has John Ryder has a puncher's chance, but I think Jacobs knows not to go balls to the wall in this fight. I think he'll bite down and trade when he has to, but otherwise he should win a decision. So I think it should be an entertaining fight. It's certainly going to be a lot more watchable than when he fought
Rosado. Yeah. What's ironic is because I know Jacobs to be an offensive fighter, especially when he used to train with Rozier, but he got this new trainer.
Well, he's back with Andre Rozier.
Huh?
He's back with Andre Rozier.
Thank fucking God. Because that was the difference. That was the difference. When he was fighting Rosado, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy in this corner? And why is he fighting like this? And then the cornerman was like, oh, you must have bet on yourself. You're doing a great job. I'm like, are we watching the same fight? So I'm so happy he's back with Andre because Andre Rozier, as is an intense motherfucker, and he's gonna get the dog out of you whether you got it or not. So
now I will say this: I do understand why Danny did leave Andre at that point. He felt like he wasn't a priority and going into the most important fight of his career. Canelo. That Andre, he has a lot of guys, and he was just kind of dividing his time a little bit too much, to Danny's liking. So I understood the split at the time. I didn't like the way they split. I hated it because it's like almost like a father-son relationship. But I'm with you. I am glad that they are back together.
No, but if you split with a guy like that with Andre Rozier, you split with him, but you went to Freddie Roach. You split with him, you went to Robert Garcia. You split with him, you went to at the Kronk gym, or you went to Ronnie Shields. I get that, but you went to some guy I never heard of, and obviously didn't do you any good because you look terrible in that Rosado fight.
Yeah, he did. So
but
hopefully we'll see the Danny Jacobs of old in this fight, not an old Danny Jacobs.
Let's hope.
Yeah,
let's hope. As far as Crawford, so it looks like who's going to be his next opponent? Keith Thurman didn't seem quite excited to say, hey, I'll fight him next. Ugas and Spence got announced for April 16th.
Right.
Virgil Ortiz doesn't seem in a rush to fight him. Boots, although he sounds ready, I don't know if Showtime is willing to pay Crawford what he wants to fight a Boots. Where does he go from here? I don't know.
I'm going to back up a little bit on the Virgil Ortiz fight, and this might be my own bias speaking. To my understanding, Virgil Ortiz took this fight. I mean, he should beat Michael McKinson, but the way they're both ranked at welterweight, it should lead to a fight with Terrence Crawford. He wants to fight him. So, I mean, he's even called him out. So I wish. I mean,
listen,
he could have got that fight last year when Sean Porter got it.
I was just going to say that. He was ranked number 1, and he allowed Sean Porter to skip him and become mandatory. So I don't know.
So my understanding with that, I'm not trying to make too many excuses here. My understanding, he was already committed to the fight with Kavaliauskas. They already had that date. They already had the tentative agreement. I know that by the time, the WBO said, do you want this fight? I think they were too far into it where they couldn't back out of it. It was more so about keeping the zone date than going after Terrence Crawford.
He's also number
So,
one in
you know,
the W. He's also number one
Right.
in the WBC. Does he go that route?
Well, he's not getting Spence. He's not getting Spence anytime soon. Spence is going to fight Ugas, obviously. If Spence wins, I'm not sure. I think Spence might be on borrowed time at welterweight. I don't know how much longer he's going to stick it out. I certainly don't see Spence and Crawford happening in 2022. I would say it's more likely to see Spence and Keith Thurman. That maybe that would be Spence's last fight at 147, and then we see Crawford and Virgil Ortiz.
Okay.
So,
I mean, so Crawford, Virgil Ortiz would be your prediction for his next fight. That's more or less, obviously not
his
holding
next notable fight. He might take a fight in Dubai. Who knows? You know. So I don't know
against who though.
He's
against a nobody.
I hope he doesn't just become a once-a-year guy.
Yeah, because let me look at the
If you fight in Dubai, then who cares? You know, as long as shaking the rust.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at. No, I mean, shaking the rust. He didn't fight that long ago. He fought in November. I mean, there's nobody really.
I know, but I'm saying.
I mean, I would be very disappointed if he fought somebody other than the names we were just discussing. Like if he fights I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Luca Santamaria. Or
Jesus,
Sergey Lipinets or Conor. I mean, Conor Ben, I wouldn't mind. What are your thoughts on Conor Ben? I like how he looked.
Him next.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, Conor Ben is going to start taking the fights that would prepare him for if he does get to Spence or Terrence Crawford. I mean, I know for his next fight, I know it's not done yet. Chris Van Heerden is in the mix, so he's one of those guys. You go fight a southpaw to get ready for southpaw. So.
Right.
Not that he fights anything like Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford, but it's a step in that direction. So, you're gonna get more out of that than you would fighting Adrian Broner.
No, for sure. I mean, the thing is with the Adrian Broner, he's a name, so I think monetarily, again, if you throw that fight in Atlanta, you may fool a bunch of casuals into buying it, into thinking it's a competitive fight. But Adrian Broner, man, that guy fell off a cliff.
Yeah, I mean, who's paying for that if you make that fight in Atlanta? Though that's the thing, PBC is not going to invest that heavily in Adrian Broner, because they don't. It's not like they're going to get Conor Ben out of it. So,
no, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Right?
No, you're right. So, what did you see Sean Porter call Jaron Boots and it's overrated?
Yes, I did.
What do you make of that?
So obviously, the internet is undefeated. So they quick to pull up the receipt that, just a few months ago, Sean was saying, I'm not going to fight this guy. He's too dangerous. He beats everyone at welterweight. Now all of a sudden he's I wish he didn't say that a few months ago, because I agree with where he was going with what he said, in this most recent podcast. Boots you can say that Boots is the future of the welterweight division. I absolutely believe that. I think he beats everyone. I won't say this in front of Virgil Ortiz, but I do think that, if they fought, he probably would beat Virgil right now. Maybe, Virgil would beat him down the road. But I think he runs the tables at welterweight. But he doesn't have any wins yet. So you can't just, hypothetically say he smokes everyone. You want to see him get that next win. So now if he fights someone like a Cody Crowley or a Custio Clayton or, even a Virgil Ortiz or whatever, like you want to see him get to that next level. I get what Sean was saying. I think he was a little bit out of turn based on what he's already said about him. And it came across as, well, I'll come out of retirement and go fight this guy. He's kind of selling wolf tickets too, because he is retired. It's not like he's going to fight him and prove everyone wrong. So I don't think he was saying he's overrated in the sense that he's not. To me, like overrated is like, this guy's not going anywhere. I think people are just putting
like Devin Haney.
Yeah, okay. I think that is fair though. Although Devin is getting the wins under his belt though. He has.
But my thing is and we'll get back to the Sean Porter Boots thing. I just want to talk about Devin Haney. It's like I just don't get how he was thrown in with these four kings. He's never left me impressed. Like, whoa, like that kid is special. He's never left that impression on me. I didn't get that in the Gamboa fight. I didn't get that in the Linares fight, and I didn't get that in the Jojo Diaz fight. I get that like, oh, he just outboxed the guy. He looked good. Yeah, he didn't even drop or hurt Gamboa. Didn't drop or hurt Linares. Two chinny guys. And then Jojo Diaz pro debut at 122, and you didn't drop or hurt him and got roughed up in the 12th round.
Yeah, I'm with you. The whole Four Kings thing was nonsense. I mean, that there was this theory that Teofimo earned it. He was the king. He was the king of the lightweight division. So I think they just wanted to link all four of them together, and we're going to pretend that these guys are all going to fight each other. It's very possible that none of them ever fight each other by the time their careers are said and done. Because if you think about it, they're all on four very different paths.
I mean, I could see a potential like in the near future, Ryan and Devin, only because they're on the same side of the street. And honestly, besides the mental issues, I have Ryan as really high or like as far as potential, as far as his punching power and hand speed. He's training with Canelo and Eddie Reynoso. I have him as potential as really high, and I don't really see much in Devin Haney, so I do see that fight happening down the road.
I do. The problem that Devin's going to keep running into, look, he's the one, he wanted to fight Ryan Garcia. So he literally stood right next to me when Ryan Garcia knocked out Luke Campbell and called out Devin, Ryan Garcia. Ryan was talking about the Tank fight, and then he saw that Devin was there calling him out. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll go fight him too. It's like, well, dude, you just won the interim title. You're supposed to fight him next. That was the whole point of this fight. And then he just kind of, sidestepped all that. And of course, the WBC was going to let him get away with it. So I can't blame Devin, for guys not fighting him. But when he does finally get into negotiations, he has to understand not everyone is going to pay him the money Eddie's paying him. And the money that Eddie is paying him is the money he probably should be making for the fights with Tank and, Teofimo Lopez or even Lomachenko. So, when you're asking for more money than someone else is willing to spend, you're going to wind up not getting these fights. So, but it's hard because, like I said, he's already, he brags, he's already made 8 figures in his career and he's, 23, 24 years old. So that's going to be a tough point for him. He's not a big draw. I was at his last fight. It wasn't empty like George Kambosos was insinuating, but they certainly didn't sell a lot of tickets. So, and he's not this big name. I mean, he's been on his own for 3 years. I can't imagine his fights are, driving subscriptions that much. So he's kind of stuck in a holding pattern at the wrong point in his career because he is in his prime. He's getting the wins. And like I said, I can't blame him at all for not getting like a fight with Ryan Garcia. I can't blame him for not getting Teofimo. Teofimo was stuck with Kambosos all year. So
no. I never called Devin Haney a duck. I just think he is very full of himself for unjustifiably because I don't really consider that. I don't really. And I know me and you're gonna disagree here, but I don't really consider him a real champion. Like I think. Kambosos is undisputed, and I know technically he's not. Just the way it makes sense. Like this guy's the real champion. He beat. Look at who he beat, and look who Devin Haney beat.
Right.
It's like so. I just don't see it with Devin Haney. I really don't. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
When I watch him, like I'm not watching like this guy's like next level. He transcends the sport of boxing, but he's at the top of a healthy, a lucrative, and a very young lightweight division. So that's his appeal right now. But he does have to get those. I'm glad he got the Jojo Diaz fight. I'm glad he got to fight even Jorge Linares. I hated the way he reacted to that one punch, but he otherwise dominated him to that point. So he got that win. The Jojo Diaz fight I thought was a very quality win, especially Jojo moving up and beating Javier Fortuna. That that further legitimized the wins. I thought he looked really good and he was entertaining in the fight. So there was a lot of upside coming out of that. He just has to keep that momentum going, not just get his Twitter fingers going.
I just think like, man, we both know Gamboa and Linares are so chinny that I think they got knocked down just right now. Just us talking, they both got knocked down, and you can't drop neither of them. Exactly. And then your next fight, you fight 122 pounder, and you can't drop him either. I don't know, man. I don't know. But
I get that.
Staying on topic,
it could also be a strain. No, I was going to say one last thing on Devin. It could also be him straining, and he's big for 135. He's not going to stick around much longer. He's going to follow Teofimo up to 140. So that could, that affects people's power in different ways. Some guys move up and they find their punching power. So that, or maybe he just, likes to be that nice boxer. But, being that nice boxer is not going to get him these, next level paydays that he's seeking.
Now, I just think like when you lack power like that and you're going to be fighting, Ryan Garcia, how are you going to keep Ryan Garcia off you when he's throwing these and he's faster and hits harder than you? Same thing with Tank. Same thing with Tio. He might rough him up. I feel like he just doesn't have that dog in him.
Yeah, and all those guys can box too. They're not just punchers. They can box. I said all those guys can box too. They're not just punchers. So,
exactly.
Yep.
how the negotiations going with Kambosos and all these guys? Because I'm confused. I'm getting real frustrated with them. I don't know if you see me on Twitter. I'm complaining about Kambosos. Is like, bro, can we get the ball rolling?
So my understanding, he's probably not going to fight until around June. So look, none of these guys are going to stay off social media, and that's the problem. It's like when these guys start negotiating through the media, and especially through social media, it does become annoying. So, but I guess that's they figured that's how they're going to keep their name out there. My problem is reporters are running with what they know is bad information. They're getting information from a source, not necessarily the source, but they're assuming, okay, well, this guy is involved in Kambosos' career, so I'm going to run with this information. Like, I saw something where, Kambosos is already locked into a 2-fight deal and he's guaranteed to fight Ryan Garcia. That's not true. Not true at all. Ryan Garcia is fighting Emmanuel Tago. Yes, Emmanuel Tago has the same promoter and same manager as George Kambosos. And they train at the same gym, too, now when Tago trains in the United States. It is not guaranteed that it's going to directly lead to a fight with Ryan Garcia. It could. I'm not saying it won't, but that's not written in stone yet. And if Kambosos has a 2-fight deal, why would he even be considering fight? Why would you fight Vasily Lomachenko if you know you're going to fight Ryan Garcia next? You're going to fight whoever the hell you want in Australia to fight Ryan Garcia next. So Kambosos wants a real fight. He does want to fight Devin Haney. He does want to fight Vasily Lomachenko. He's not blowing smoke when he tweets that. Those fights are very much in play.
Did you hear what Robert Garcia said about a mistake?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. Now, granted, the last time Robert Garcia made an assumption, though, we had Virgil Ortiz training with Eddie Reynoso. And we see who Virgil Ortiz is training with now, right?
Yeah, Manny Robles.
Right. So, yes, I think it's hilarious. I have a voicemail from, I want to say 11 years ago from Manny Pacquiao's old manager who thought I was Leonard Ellerby. He left a message for me saying, we got to get this fight done with Floyd. I don't know why he thought he was calling Leonard. Leonard Ellerby and Jake Donovan can't be anywhere near on his Rolodex.
Yeah.
But, yep, that's the phone call I got from Michael Kahn saying, come on, let's get this fight done. I'm like,
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I find it funny you still have it saved too.
Of course, yeah. But see, I could have taken that message and ran and said, okay, wow, this fight has to be next. They're sitting here and talking about it. And I'd have been dead wrong in 2010 if I did that. So.
Damn, man.
I thought it was funny, though, that Robert put that out there.
No, I thought it was funny as well. But you bringing that up, man, it hurts me so much that Pacquiao and Mayweather didn't happen in 09, 2010. Like that's when whether it made more money, when it actually happened. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm not getting none of that money. I'm talking about, that was when I feel like Pacquiao had a legit shot. I still would have picked Mayweather, but I feel like Pacquiao was on his prime, on his P's and Q's, man. That would have been a great fight.
Yeah, I agree. And what I hate about it, though, is, I'm with you. I'm glad that they made the shitload of money that they did off the fight, but it's kind of ruined the business because now, like, even going back to Spence and Crawford, they said, oh, well, Pacquiao and, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather fought 5 years after everyone was calling for it, and they made all the money. So there's always going to be hope. But I don't want to see that applied to every single fight because all that means is all these fights are going to get delayed until way past, their prime value. I don't know, man. It's just the business side. It's in every sport, though. It's not just boxing. The business side ruins, the entertainment side.
No, I totally agree. Getting back to the Sean Porter, him saying that Boots is overrated. I'm gonna read the quote and then I'll break down what I think of it. So he goes, Boots is overrated. And this is why I say he's overrated. Everybody is so hyped up on him, but he hasn't been in the ring with any world champion yet. And don't forget, I'm the one that said, well, one of the ones that said, this dude is the closest thing we got to Roy Jones. I've said that. I'm on record. I believe that. But at the same time, every name that you throw out, Boots will smash him. Boots will smash him. Damn, like let the fight happen and say Boots smashed him, or man, that was a great fight. Boots did well, but don't blatantly Boots will smash everybody in the 147 division. So what I think is when he said overrated, I think he meant overhyped or no, I think he meant unproven. I think that's what he meant.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he just misspoke, and he probably has a friend or two that are really big Boots fan and have been annoying him, going, Boots smashes every. Oh yeah, Boots beat Prime Mayweather. Boots will beat Sugar Ray Leonard. Boots will beat Sugar Ray Robinson. So he's probably like, all right, hearing it from these 1 or 2, 3 friends, and then use the wrong word. But I think he meant an unproven, and I think Boots to some degree is unproven if that's what he meant.
Yeah, so now I didn't retweet like that video because he was wrong in saying he hasn't beaten like a champion. He did beat Sergey Lipinets, who was a former champ. So that was like, you know, his I'm not gonna say a breakout fight, but that was his step up. You know, he finally, you know, that was, you know, the fight you want to take. Right. So I mean, he's supposed to do what he did against Thomas Delorme. He blew him out a lot quicker than, you know, I think, you know, anyone else has. I mean, he beat the crap out of Abreu, but I get where, like, if we're saying Boots should be right there with Spence and Crawford, those guys are far more proven. Like, he shouldn't be in that conversation yet. Does he have the potential to beat them? Absolutely. But like, he doesn't even have a win as good as Ugas has yet. I don't even think, I think Virgil Ortiz right now has I'm not gonna say a much stronger resume, but he has the better wins right now. I would put Virgil Ortiz's best wins up against Boots' best wins.
No, yeah, he beat Hooker and he beat Kavaliauskas.
He beat Antonio Orozco, you know, when he did. I thought that was a very good win. So he had that, you know, great run in 2019 when he was the prospect of the year. Boots is blowing the shit out of these guys that he should be blowing the shit out of. I mean, he hasn't been one fight yet where, oh my God, this could be the fight he finally goes the distance, you know. So
I don't think I have to look at his record again, but I don't think he's lost a round. I'm being honest.
He's lost, yeah, very few if he has. But yeah, like I said, we all agree he is the future of the welterweight division, or if he moves up, he's the future of the sport. There is pound for pound potential with Boots. Everyone has to agree on that. So I'm with you though. If Sean used any other word than overrated, I don't think it would have triggered people as much. So if he said he's unproven, he still has to get that one more win, he'd have been on the money.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was just really surprised that it became the story that it was. Like, oh, you know, why don't you come out of retirement and fight him? It's like, well, he's already retired, so why would he do that?
No, I get why it became a story, because if you're calling somebody overrated, it means you don't think they're that good. So if that's the case, if he's not that good, come back for a payday and knock this dude out. If he's not that good, which I don't think. Yeah, I think Sean Porter, just maybe his vocabulary isn't as good, but I think he meant unproven. I don't think he thinks that he's overrated. He knows that guy.
I'm with you. Yeah. Right. If he picked any other word, that's a non-conversation.
Yeah. And any traction on the rumor that Beterbiev and Joe Smith are going to fight for a 3-belt unification?
They're on their way. I know there's a financial hang-up. Cop and I both tweeted this last week. So how it works, Joe has all these people in his career. One of them is Joey DeGuardia, his career-long promoter. Joey DeGuardia works hand in hand with Top Rank to further his career. Top Rank has taken the lead, but they essentially co-promote his career. So Top Rank can't negotiate directly with Joe Smith. They have to negotiate through Joey DeGuardia. So they offer Joey DeGuardia a package to fight Beterbiev. So from there, DeGuardia is going to take his split. Joe Smith is trying to take a more favorable split than what DeGuardia is offering. So that is where that stands. To my knowledge, Beterbiev has, I'm not going to say he's signed, but I think he's on board with whatever has been offered, because, there's fewer hands in his pocket. Joe Smith, he wants more money, and he's the guy in the ring, so he absolutely deserves it. So once he gets that magic number from Joe DeGuardia, we should see that fight hopefully this summer, and hopefully that means my next trip to New York.
Okay, all right.
Right.
No, have you ever met Joe Smith?
Of course, yeah. So I lived in Mastic, so yeah, no Joe Smith very well.
Is he a nice guy?
He is. He's not the most talkative guy, but he means well. He's you don't want to talk to him probably a week before a fight, but other than that,
I met him before. He was an asshole to me. Yeah, I was an intern.
He could have a mean.
I was an intern for a boxing website, so this is my first time ever covering a boxing event. It was at a catering hall in Queens. He was fighting. He was the main event,
right?
And he got touched up. Like he fought a journeyman, but the journeyman touched him up. He won the fight. I came up to him afterwards, like, "Hey, I work for this, website. I would just want to interview." He was like, he like shooed me away, like I'm not giving nobody an interview. Get out of here, get out. I was like, what? Like, I'm from Brooklyn, so I wanted to react a certain way, but at the same time, I'm on an internship. I was just like, all right, and I just kept that in the back of my head. So every time he fights, I root against him. So I'm happy he's getting that Beterbiev fight, so Beterbiev could put the beats on him. Yeah, man,
it's a dangerous
I'm petty
fight.
like that.
It's dangerous.
I'm petty.
Yeah.
I got long memory too. You know, it's
I've
funny,
never had a bad experience. I've had frustrating interviews with him, but I've never had a bad experience with him. I can say
Nah,
that.
nah, yeah.
He's not the most talkative guy.
Nah, but it could be that he was just upset. He put a bad performance because he did put a bad performance that day. So it could be that I probably shouldn't be taking it so personal. But I remember I think I was like 20 years old, 21.
Okay.
So you're a little bit more. Your ego's a little bit more.
Exactly.
I remember just thinking like I should just hook because he was looking away. I was like I should just hook off on this motherfucker right here. I'm like, you know what? That's probably a bad idea. Let me.
That is very bad that they're going to see. Now you got to get over it though, because when they do fight, I need you to be there next to me ringside.
No, for sure. I mean, I don't know if I can get a press pass, but I definitely would be there. I'll have a ticket if not. And by the way, I was joking. I would never swing on a fight. I'm not stupid. I know I'll get my ass kicked.
Yeah. So we talked about Devin Haney before. I made the mistake. It was his first fight since the pandemic. There was only three of us there, and we were waiting all night to interview him. I was literally standing right next to him. He's sitting there, keeping us on hold. And then someone told him, "Look, hey, these are reporters waiting." He's like, "Fuck them, they can wait." I was so tired and sleep deprived. I just looked at it. I said, "You know what? Fuck you too." And I stormed out of there like a little girl.
That's the reaction I would have had. I'm like, yo, fuck you too then.
As I'm walking away, I'm like, if he or even Bill are right behind me, they're going to whoop my ass. There's nothing I'm going to be able to do about it. I can try to fight back, but these guys are going to beat me down. But they did. Bill came, like, "Oh, man, a misunderstanding. Come on back." So, but yeah, we got to think about what we say sometimes, especially when it comes to pro fighters. Yeah.
No, hell yeah. I ain't trying to go viral, man. in a bad way. I ain't trying to go viral
for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly. But by the way, I don't know if you know, but I'm ecstatic about the 140-pound division. Man, that's my favorite division in all of boxing right now. Mm-hmm. People talk about the 135-pounders, but listen to the names at 140. Yeah. Josh Taylor, Regis Prograis, Jose Cepeda, Jose Ramirez, Jose Pedraza, Arnold Barboza, Teofimo's moving up, Subiro Matias, Elvis Rodriguez, Brandon Lee, Montana Love. Like, it is a Richardson Hitchens. This is a stacked division. Gary Antoine Russell. Like, am I off base saying this is the hottest division in boxing?
It's you just named a whole lot of talent, and those guys. I mean, especially we're already talking about Teofimo. His first fight at 140 is probably going to be against Arnold Barboza. Matias is eventually going to step up. I mean, not eventually step, but he's eventually going to get the fight he wants. Yeah, that division is going to get really moving. I mean, Josh Taylor will probably move up before he can start fighting too many more of these guys, but he should beat Jack Catterall. I think we'll see at least one more fight out of him at 140. I'd love to see him and Teofimo. I don't know if we're going to get there. I don't know how much longer Josh could stick at 140. But I think if there is the opportunity where he could fight Terrence Crawford, he'll probably move up then. But he seems to think he can stay throughout the year. But yeah, there's so much more at 140.
Yeah. Bob Arum, I don't know if he'll give Josh Taylor to Crawford after Crawford is suing Bob Arum.
Right, exactly.
which you talk about bad timing. The week I had you on, right, last time. The next week it was when the Bud Crawford. I was like, oh my God, that would have been such good timing. The whole stream, I'm like reading your article to the public, and I'm telling people where to catch it if they want to read it on their own. But I'm like, damn, such bad timing. I almost felt like hitting you up again. Like, can you come on this week? But I was like, nah.
Right. Nah, that's fine. You can give me anytime you want. But yeah, no, but that I don't think that lawsuit is going to linger too far. It's all the racial stuff, it caught headlines, but there's so much of that has nothing to do with the lawsuit. It's going to come down to whether or not a judge is going to decide that they owe, Top Rank owes Terrence Crawford money for one more fight. But if that was my thing is, if that was the case, Top Rank would have just said, you're not out of contract. And if you think we owe you one more fight, you're going to sit on your ass until we give you that final fight. So that's my problem with the lawsuit.
What about the Spence clause though?
No, I get that. So that's, he's going to have proof for that though, because I didn't see any. Usually when you submit a lawsuit like that, you submit attachments, exhibits, whatever. That didn't come with any of that. There was no proof of like anything that was said in the lawsuit. It was just all claims. So once it goes to a certain point, I guess maybe they'll submit all that for discovery, but I haven't seen any proof of that. So if that was a conversation he had with Todd the Buff, I'm sorry, man, he's shit out of luck. You don't take anyone's word in boxing.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but the lawyer he got, that's a fucking A-class lawyer.
He is. But I was very I mean, he's a big name, but if you read through that lawsuit, like right off the bat, they misspelled Clark County, they misspelled Todd Buff's name, they got his relationship. There's a lot. It looked like it was rushed, and they knew what they were doing, giving it to fucking Page Six. I mean, come on, you're talking about racism. You're talking about, this promoter's racist against me, and they go to one of the most fucking racist newspapers in the country, the New York Post. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know how familiar they are with the New York Post though, because maybe they're not from New York, but guys like me and you,
they knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing.
I mean, instead of a boxing writer.
I mean, the New York Post, besides
she's not going to.
Yeah, no, the New York Post, what they do is they just want to anything that grabs headlines. They have a very low standard for journalism.
That's all that was, man. That was a headline grabbing. Yep.
Yeah. Tyson Fury with the bid with Dillian White. Eddie Hearn is saying I wouldn't be surprised if Tyson vacates, and he seems uncertain that the fight's going to go through. Like, any update on that?
Why would you? I mean, Tyson Fury absolutely has to believe he's going to smoke Dillian White, and he's going to get $30 million plus a $4 million bonus. The WBC is holding 10% in escrow from that purse bid. I mean, he's going to get $33 million for a fight where he's considerably favored. What's his motivation to give up the title?
Yeah,
he's not getting Usyk next.
No, I agree. I just don't know why Eddie's still talking about this. Why is he?
Because Eddie's not promoting the fight. I get along with Eddie, but he gets that way once something's out of his control. Then all of a sudden, it's not as big of a deal. Like if he won the purse bid with $32 million, it would have been the biggest fight in British boxing history. Now it's just another fight. All of a sudden, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk rematch is bigger.
So wait, he's trying to sabotage it?
No, I wouldn't say sabotage, but he has no motivation to promote it.
All right, no, only because I seen him on the on a podcast with Ariel Helwani, and he was just saying how he doesn't trust like Fury's camp, and how something along those lines. How he wouldn't be surprised if the fight doesn't go off. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm going to choose my words very carefully just because of a lot of things that Dillian White has going on. But my guess would be if it doesn't happen, it's because Dillian White doesn't sign. Tyson Fury has absolutely no reason whatsoever to not take this fight.
I mean,
that's a personal belief.
If Dillian White doesn't take $8 million, because that's what he's rumored to be getting paid, that would be the stupidest boxing business move I've ever heard. You getting $8 million and you a chance at the WBC, the most valuable belt, whether we like the organization or not. That seems to be the belt that the fighters want most. And the lineal championship, and you're going to fucking go somewhere else and fight who? Joe Joyce?
Right. Well, it's the title he's screaming that he's been owed since 2017, no less. So
oh man.
As long as Dillian White signs a contract, I don't see any reason why this fight. Maybe it doesn't happen April 23rd. Maybe another injury comes up, or Tyson starts licking COVID ashtrays again. I don't know. All right. Maybe don't invite Isaac Lowe to camp this time.
But I'm excited about the heavyweight division, man. I haven't been this excited for a minute. I feel like now we finally have 7 or 8 fighters where I'm like, oh no, that's a decent fighter. Whether it be a Joe Joyce, I'm not big on Hrgovic, but there's people who are. Some people consider him a good fighter. Andy Ruiz, Frank Sanchez, although he's boring, he is talented.
He's
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you match up Frank Sanchez, right? And he's not as boring as especially as he looked last time. But I thought he looked, it wasn't a sexy fight against a jogger, but it was a statement making fight. He went from prospect to contender at least.
I ain't like I ain't find it particularly entertaining. I did like his performance in terms of
I hear you.
Yeah. But my last year's prospect of the year was Jared Anderson, believe it or not, and I'm really high on him.
Boxing scenes as well. Yep.
For real? Oh
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys know boxing over there? No, yeah, I seen him live. I went to the Lomachenko fight, Lomachenko Comey fight. He was on the undercard, and that was first of all, that guy is massive. I'm sure you've met him in person.
Yeah,
that guy is massive, and then his hand speed. was just as fast as the guys on the undercard. I was like, whoa. He came out southpaw.
Yeah.
I didn't know he could switch southpaw orthodox. And then he knocks the guy out in the second round orthodox. I really, really, really liked his performance, and he was my prospect of the year. And I think we got a future heavyweight champion there. And he's only like 22. He's 22, 6'4", 240 or 245. That guy's big. And if he's only 22, 23, there's only room to grow.
Yeah.
I really like him. I really, really
he's
like
humble.
him.
He's marketable. He's a good interview. And the obvious part, he can fight his ass off, and he can knock you out with at any given moment. There's nothing to not like about Jared Anderson.
Yeah, and I like that he's with Jay Prince and Jay Prince tends to move fighters along well. He handled Floyd Mayweather for a little bit, Andre Ward. Now he's handling Shakur Stevenson.
Yep.
So the guy's has a good name in terms of boxing. Those names can be associated
for a while.
Yep. Any news on Inoue? I mean, I wanted to see him against Casemiro or Nonito Donaire, but like, what's up? Like,
they're working on Donaire. If it happens, it would happen in Japan, but obviously it would have to be Donaire being able to get into Japan, because that's the issue. It's like they're trying to make these like Jerome Akajas was supposed to fight Ioka, he couldn't because of what's going on with COVID and the Omicron variant. So once Japan can open up its borders and let everyone in, then obviously we'll get Triple G and Realtor Murata, and then we should get Inoue wants a big fight. He doesn't want any more of these two. He even disrespected his last opponent. He said, "I know people don't want to see this fight. This is the fight he had to take in order to stay active to get a second fight in 2021. He doesn't want any more of those fights, and he wants."
Wasn't that a mandatory though?
No, the last fight it was that was the only ranked contender that they could get into Japan at that time. That's why he took the fight. The one before that, Michael Dasmariñas, that was a mandatory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because his last opponent, that was a brutal beating, man. It was like almost
he treated him like
to
he didn't belong in the ring.
He didn't belong in the ring.
Yeah,
man.
he treated him like he didn't belong.
It was a brutal beating. I felt like his corner could have. I mean, after like the 4th or 5th round, it was pretty clear what was going on, and I don't see why they kept throwing him out there.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
But hopefully we get that fight with the rematch with Donaire. They both seem to want it. So as long as you can get him over back in Japan, then that should be his. If it's not his next fight, it's one of his 2 fights in 2022.
Yeah, I didn't like his damn, I lost track of what I was gonna say. Hold on. What I was gonna say is I don't like how ESPN and Top Rank did the deal with Inoue, man. They should have got more creative, because that guy needs to fight in America, man. I'm a huge fan. I want to see him live, and I feel like they didn't give him the fights that he deserves in the right cities. Like, I feel like he would do real good in the West Coast area, in whether it be in San Francisco or LA and stuff like that. There's a lot of a big Asian population over there, and even somewhat here in New York. I'm not sure about Japanese, but I know there's definitely a lot of Asians out here.
Right.
But I
said the same thing. He would have been big in the Bay Area, or Bay Area or New York. But I know, like, when they got him in Vegas, during the pandemic, it was they had to get him in the ring. He was supposed to fight Casemiro, he couldn't. They wanted just to bring him to Las Vegas to get that experience. So, plus, he fought Jason Maloney, which I thought was a credible fight. He's just so much better than everyone else. So bringing him back to Vegas, they had that deal with that casino. So, and again, it was about keeping him active, not with Virgin Hotels Las Vegas. So it was about just getting him back in the ring. He got his mandatory out the way. This last fight, I know they had the Japanese pay-per-view stream over there. So I don't know if that affected whether or not ESPN Plus could get involved. But I think we're going to see him take much firmer control of his career in 2022.
Is he going to have more accessibility to American TV, or am I have to keep going to these websites, risking my computer's life?
I'd have to imagine if he fights Donaire, there's no way in hell that that ESPN Plus doesn't pick that up.
To me, he's one of my favorite fighters to watch. Yeah. To me, every single fight he has should have a ESPN Plus, a DAZN on it. Yep. Whatever. If I got to pay $5 extra, whatever I got to do to watch Donaire fight live, I need that. I need that in my life.
I did some ungodly things to watch his last fight. So believe me, I'm with you, man. However I got to watch his next fight, I will watch it. So.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, like I, when ESPN, I thought for sure it was gonna be on ESPN Plus. So I was working overnight because I'm a doorman here in New York,
Mhm.
and so I was working overnight. I was like, oh, perfect, I'm gonna watch this. I couldn't find it. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm seeing people on Twitter complaining, doing the same thing I was doing because I thought he had to deal with Top Rank. And then
Right.
they were like, oh no. So I'm over here scouring the internet, going through all these illegal streams to find Inui blast this dude out. I'm like, come on, man. Like, they shouldn't be doing that. They should be more conscious and more
Yeah.
of making these fights available. Because I feel like he's always mentioned in boxing conversations here in America.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that shows you how much he is must see TV. That we're sitting here at 3 o'clock in the morning. We know he's gonna beat the shit out of this guy. Yet, how do we watch it? I don't care how much of a blowout it is. I have to go see him fight. That's how much that's how relevant he is to the boxing landscape.
No, and to add to that, like we could be like, oh, we know he's gonna beat the shit out of this guy. He's beating the shit out of legitimate guys too.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I remember
like I said, he did what he did to Jason Malone. He was no scrub.
Yeah, no, I remember his fight against Emmanuel Rodriguez, where Emmanuel Rodriguez's trainer was disrespecting his father, and Inui just stood in the corner. It kind of looked like Inui was scared. You know, this big Puerto Rican was screaming and cursing in Spanish and doing all this, got in his father's face, even pushed him. And what he did to Emmanuel Rodriguez, a legit fighter, it was like crazy.
Yeah.
He did him easy.
Yeah.
That's why I have him really high on my pound for pound list. And people give me a hard time, but I'm like, bro, you got to give credit for dominance. You got to give extra credit for dominance.
Exactly. No, I've been big on him literally since his pro debut. I remember, someone tipped me. He's like, "Oh, you got to watch this guy fight." I found whatever stream at 2 o'clock in the morning. I watched him. I've been hooked ever since. And so Emmanuel Rodriguez actually went to school with my brother-in-law. So I was kind of biased. Yes, I was like, maybe I believed a little bit too much into. But when Inoue just beat the crap out of him that fight, that was like, this dude is like, he's right there in the pound for pound conversation.
Yeah. Since you have a connection to Rodriguez, I have a connection to Payano.
Okay,
my father, he had a boxer in Dominican Republic that he was trying to move. The guy ended up becoming nothing. But anyways, he was sparring with Payano when he was preparing for his Fortuna fight. My father's fighter fought Fortuna,
right?
And so my father was like, "Nah, man, he gave my guy good work. He's gonna do good against Inui."
Yeah,
dude got blasted out in one round.
Yeah, Payano. Yeah, I'm very good friends with Payano's trainer, but that was.
Yeah, nah.
He's never been hit like that, amateur pro ever. It was just like ungodly power.
How familiar are you with Inoue? You said you knew. Like as far as his amateurs, you said you heard about him since the.
Someone said you have to watch his pro debut. I mean, I can't remember why I was watching the card, but they said make sure you check out his pro debut, and I checked it out. Him and his brother, I checked. I mean, his brother isn't anything like him, but
that's interesting. That's very interesting. Damn, you got really good connections. If somebody told you to watch Inui since his pro debut, that means you're really deep. You got big deep connections all over the world. Then.
Yeah, I mean, I cover everything, so
Yeah. How much boxing do you watch? Like I'm talking about not the championship fights. We all watch those. I'm talking about how many 4-round club shows are you watching?
I mean, I'm not like Tim. I'm wearing my man Tim Boxeo's shirt. I'm not like him or anything. But I used to. I mean, I was like one of the first U.S. writers to like really catch all these overseas shows. Like I'm not going to sit here and say I started that trend, but I did it, and I will say, fuck it. I'm going to say I started that trend. I was one of the first ones to really cover every show. So I kind of took pride in that, like just being that guy, like watching the shows that nobody else is watching. So
there you go. Talk your shit. Yeah. There you go. Have that.
But obviously, I mean, I can't just write some, bullshit club show that, boxing scene's not going to care about, because then that's a waste of my time. And, they're publishing it. I'm going to read it. But yeah.
Like something where at least there's some international interest, like the Olympics articles you were writing. Not everybody was interested, but guy like me, as you know, I'm very interested in Olympics. I was definitely keeping up with that, because unlike you, I wasn't able to watch all 300 and whatever 70 fights that were that gone on. But yeah,
Well, what I appreciated about that though is that actually caught NBC's attention because so many people were, pointing out that I was the one guy covering it. Then NBC realized, well, damn, we have this researcher, and he's become everyone's boxing resource. So that actually helped me out, just by being in the right place at the right time. So,
all right, yeah. Any update on Andre?
Yeah, so he's supposed to be fighting Zach Parker in an interim title fight. So it's kind of the same path as Benavidez is taking with David Lemieux at the WBC. Andrade, instead of fighting Janibek Alim Kanuli, I think I'm screwing up his name, but he was supposed to fight in middleweight mandatory. Instead, the WBO is letting him fight an interim title fight against Zach Parker. What WBO and the WC have already agreed upon, it's going to be up to the fighters to agree. They've already agreed that if Canelo, like he's going to fight Bivol and then maybe fight Triple G, they're going to allow their mandatories to fight each other to create. It's going to be like a rare interim title unification bout.
So then it'll be a double mandatory.
Yes, exactly. They're going to have a super mandatory. That's what they're going to call them. So now it's going to be up to Andrade and Benavidez to agree on that. Supposedly Andrade and Eddie Hearn already said, we're on board. But, if PBC says, well, we're going to pay you $100,000, they might not be on board. So.
No, I actually like that idea.
I love it.
Yeah, because you got 4 belts. If we can make one mandatory out of 2, then he won't be so beholden,
Well, that's the problem with undisputed champion. Like once you get to that level, it's like these guys just don't fight enough. They're not active enough during the year to where they can defend against every mandatory. Otherwise, all they're doing is facing mandatories, which gets boring in a hurry. So I do like the idea, when the 4 heads met last year, Darryl Peoples, Paco Valcarcel, Mauricio Sulaiman, and Gilberto Mendoza, they all met that was one of the things they said, that we really have to start working together, especially with these mandatories, putting forth better mandatories, and then getting these guys to fight each other when we're having these unification bouts and undisputed bouts. This way, every fight is relevant to all 4 sanctioning bodies. And that motivates them to start, working together more often. So I love the idea. I love the idea of an Andre Benavidez fight personally.
No, I love the idea of the fight, and then I love the idea of a double mandatory. Also, there's a similar situation happening at 122 with the WBC and the WBO. I guess there's a similar relationship with what's his name? Roman?
Danny Roman,
yeah, Danny Roman. There we go. Couldn't think of his first name. Danny Roman. He's going to be the double mandatory for Stephen Fulton at 122 pounds.
Right. That's perfect. Yeah. So that means Stephen Fulton could fight once if MJ can figure out, because he has a shitload of mandatories coming up. But if he can whittle that down to at least fighting one and then telling them, okay, I'll get to these other guys. Let me go fight Stephen Fulton for all the belts. Then, again, that's the way the sanction bodies work together. The WBA, they really messed things up by naming a mandatory before MJ fought Rios, because then Ronnie Rios got COVID. So now he still owed that fight. So now MJ's going to go fight him next. Keep those other guys on hold. Let Marlon Tapoulis fight, who was a crazy Azat Hovhannissian. That's supposed to, who wants to see that? You don't want to see these guys just constantly fighting mandatories because, especially if these guys are just kind of sitting around waiting for their title shot. So let those guys fight each other. Let the guys unify all the belts. And then the mandatory is fighting for an even greater prize. That drives up their value as well.
No, I agree. The IBF usually is good with allowing unifications to override mandatories, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and unfortunately, they have the worst mandatories. So that's
no, their mandatories be trash. With the exception,
I think that's why they kind of allow those fights. Yeah,
so. they're like, listen, our guy ain't gonna beat the champion anyways. He's got go to unification. Like I remember the last mandatory Josh Taylor had. Yo, that fight shouldn't have been fucking. The commission shouldn't have allowed it. That was ridiculous.
Hong Song, that was awful. Yeah,
that guy had no chance. You wouldn't put him in against a guy who's arguably top 5 pound for pound. That a guy that barely anybody's ever heard of. That was shameful. If I'm the IBF president, I'm researching what is wrong with my rankings. No way should that have happened.
Yeah, so that's a guy like, okay, because he also owed Jack Catterall, the guy he's fighting next. He owed him a man. Like Jack Catterall should have fought that guy. At least get him out of the way. Let Josh Taylor fight whoever. At least Josh Taylor still got to fight Jose Ramirez. I give Catterall credit. He let him have that fight as long as he was guaranteed next. And Josh Taylor did the right thing and said, okay, now I'm going to fight you next. These lesser mandatories, there's something to gain by them fighting each other. But if they're willing to sit around and take less money for it, then that's on them. It only hurts the sport.
No, I totally agree. So, but this year looks like April and May are going to be really, really crowded months.
Yep.
Why do these promoters do that? Why not? It's ridiculous. To me, listen, this is an idea I've had for a while. If I was a promoter, that Sunday before the Super Bowl, that there's no football,
right?
Put a card there, stack it, and guess what? You call it the Super Brawl.
Yeah.
And then you stack the card, and then Super Brawl 1, Super Brawl 2. And you know, every single Sunday before the Super Bowl, you're gonna get a sick pay-per-view, whether you can have all these fights. Let's just say 2-3 championship fights. Some, maybe the main event is 2 really known fighters, and the undercards is good fights that may not get that much views on regular television. I feel like they don't get creative with the promotion. There's a day called Boxing Day, and we don't take advantage of that either.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. HBO was always good about that back in the day, like putting on that really significant fight in between, like the NFC, the championship and the Super Bowl. So, yeah, but yeah, that's we are sorely missing it. Like we had 2 shows last weekend, but it was like there was nothing that was really transcending the public on either show. I mean, look, as boxing fans, we all love Bam Rodriguez. We love the fact that he won a title, but no one was going out of their way to watch that fight on the Zone. No one in Phoenix certainly went out of the way to attend that fight. So.
Not a lot of people went.
No, they had like 8 or 9 sections open. The media section was pretty liberal. So
wow. That's a shame.
I mean, they knew what they were getting. They had so many fallouts in that card. They just wanted to get that show.
Yeah, that's a shame because he really put in a good performance against Quadras, who, he's older, but I respect Quadras, and I think anybody who watches boxing cannot have respect for that man. Yeah. Somebody's saying in my comments section.
I mean, he's been part of that thing.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
No, you were saying?
No, I want to see that comment.
All right.
I want to see the comment.
Amanda said she wanted 12 rounds, 12 3-minute rounds. Is that actually possible? Somebody's asking from the chat.
The 3-minute round part you can negotiate with the commission. I mean, Senicia Estrada, Marlon Esparza were able to do it in Las Vegas. To me, that's something that really should have been negotiated before the fight. I get it. It was like, you put it out there, it makes great headlines, but for a fight of that magnitude, that's not something you bring up at a press conference. I mean, it was badass that Amanda did it, but I would have, if they knew back in December that they were going to fight each other, that should have been the time to discuss it. So that would have been something that's something I feel like you should announce, not dare the other fighter to say, but
All right.
Yeah, 3-minute rounds can happen. Getting women to 12. I get what she's saying, though. I mean, it's like, this is a fight like no other. This is a true, with apologies to Clarissa Shields, whoever wins this fight is going to be recognized as the pound-for-pound queen. So I get it. Make this, for absolute highest stakes possible. Separate this fight from all others, not just make it a 10, 2-minute round fight. I get that.
And I think, honestly, including MMA, this is the biggest female fight of all time. So, I think it would be a big statement, but like you said, I do think it should have been negotiated before as opposed to after. But so it is going to be 2-minute rounds.
It's going to be 10 2-minute. Yeah, Katie even said no. She's like, not this time. Maybe if they do a rematch, maybe they could consider it then. Negotiate. To me, it reminded me of like this fight was nowhere near on the magnitude of Katie and Amanda, but it was Andre Ward and Edwin Rodriguez. And at the press conference, all of a sudden, Bomba brings up, he's like, oh, how come we're not doing, VADA testing? What? He's like, why the fuck didn't you bring that up, before you signed the damn contract? He's like, he did it just.
Pascal did the same thing with Hopkins.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of posturing. So I'm not saying Amanda did that. Maybe she was told, why don't you bring it up at the press conference? I mean, there was still like, 2.5 months before the fight. So, if there is a way to get the New York Commission on board, then why not? But both parties have to be on board. Now, Senicia Estrada, her last fight, she and her opponent both won in 3-minute rounds. The commission actually nixed it because they said the sanctioning body wouldn't allow it. So that's the frustrating part when they both won it and the commission say no.
Yeah, that is annoying. That especially, I honestly do not understand why they fight 2-minute rounds. Like, what difference does it make?
Yeah, I don't buy into it, especially these fights that had it's like, okay, well, they fought 3 minutes, so what what's your proof now? So no, I do get like Amanda would want 3-minute rounds because that gives her a better chance of knocking out Katie Taylor.
Yeah,
because Katie's not going to knock out Amanda.
Do you do predictions? I don't know because I don't want to ruin your connection.
I'm not predicting that fight.
Okay, all right.
You're
all
not
right.
going to get me to predict that fight even when they walk into the ring. I respect both of them way too much. So, and plus I'll be covering it. So it's kind of unethical, but
No, that's why I asked before. I don't want to get you in trouble with anybody or
yeah, I will say, as someone who tends to go, Boricua heavy, I would love to see Amanda Serrano become Puerto Rico's first ever undisputed champion, male or female. That would be amazing, because that's like the pinnacle of like history to be made in this fight. But for Katie Taylor to win this fight, forget it. Like, she's the one who made it possible for these women to make the money that they're making now in boxing and to make even more money. So if she wins that fight, like she could retire. She don't have to do anything else. She could probably retire, win or lose. But if she was to win that fight, that would, what kind of a state? You just beat, the record-breaking, the woman who won more titles than any other in boxing history. So
now, I as we spoke before, I don't know if you remember, I know Amanda personally, so I'm gonna be rooting for my girl. I'm gonna be again. I have a son on the way, so I can't 100% say I'll be there. My son is due on the 21st. The fight is on the 30th. My girl, she's the best. She said if everything is okay, I can go, a guy's night out. I'm excited, man. Hopefully I can get, if not, obviously I'll watch the fight from home, but I 100% want to go see that fight live, because it's a historic moment. Like, that's something that I can say.
And they're doing everything.
Go ahead. They're doing everything. What?
Yeah. No, we're talking about how like boxing doesn't get creative. They've gotten very creative. Like, they're using MMA to promote this fight. They've gotten so creative with it. They're making this an even bigger fight. Just like like bringing Ariel. I know Ariel covers boxing and MMA, but they're tapping into the MMA writers, like the guys who tend to cover only the super fights in boxing. They're, all those guys are interested in this fight.
Yeah,
so because of that Jake Paul element, Jake Paul brings those guys in. So.
Yeah, no, Jake Paul. As much as people want to give him shit, I like what Jake Paul's done for the sport, man. Jake Paul has done was done good by the fighters. He put Montana Love on his undercard. Montana Love ends up getting signed. He put Amanda on his undercard. Amanda ends up getting her biggest payday. Gonna be the first headliner in Madison Square Garden. He puts I forget the guy's name, the Australian guy who beat
just about to bring him up. He just signed with Matchroom.
Yeah, and then he just signed with Matchroom. And then again, even the Deron Williams Frank Gore fight, yes, to some of us hardcores, that may be an annoying fight. But no, that's an actual good fight for like the casual fan. That for the guy who buys a pay-per-view of a Jake Paul fight,
right?
They're not the hardcore fans. They may be a basketball fan, they may be a football fan, and that fight to them was, and it was actually a fun fight to watch. I wouldn't say entertaining; it was fun. Like, it was kind of like, I watch all sports, so I'm familiar with both of those guys, especially Deron Williams, who played here in Brooklyn. So like it was a fun fight. I like what Jake Paul is doing. So far, I haven't seen him do anything to disrespect the sport. He's fighting. People say, he's not fighting real boxers. I'm like, he's not a real boxer. He's a YouTuber.
Right. So the one thing I will say, I do wonder how many more times he will fight and how much, because he's a much better promoter than, I think he's gaining more traction as a promoter than his events are, when he fights. Because his pay-per-view, like, he went from, he had all this attention in his pro debut. Then he fought on the Tyson Roy Jones card. That did, 1.6 million pay-per-views? His pay-per-view numbers have gone in the very wrong direction ever since then. He did, I think, 800,000 or 900,000 when he fought on Triller. He fought 500,000 on, his first Showtime pay-per-view. The second one was like around 350, 380, somewhere in that range. So he's going to have to get to that point where, they're going to want to see it. The act is starting to wear a little bit thin on that front. So, but as a promoter, he's doing amazing things.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to say he's lost steam, only because the second Tyron Woodland fight was a last-minute replacement. They were promoting the Tommy Fury fight, so I'm sure there was some people who lost interest in the event. And also, it was a fight we already seen.
Right.
I don't want to be too off of him as a fighter. Well, not a real fighter, but you know what I mean, like as a person who gets in there and fights other celebrities. As far I still think if he has the right B side, he can sell. I believe that.
I keep pushing. I want to see him fight. I mean, I want to see the fight with Tommy Fury come back around. I'd like to see him fight Marcellus Wilder. I mean, if you're just going to look for those famous names, go after those guys.
Then
maybe who knows? Maybe Deontay Wilder.
No, come on, damn! You really don't like Jake Paul. You want to fight Deontay Wilder?
Not Deontay. I'm just saying, but at least you get Deontay involved. Fuck it.
No,
Let
I see what
Deontay
you're
fight
saying.
Logan Paul.
If he's no, but I ain't even put that 2 and 2 together. If he fights Tommy Fury and then fights Marcelo's Wilder, that would be perfect. You fighting the two brothers, who are their brothers are heavyweight champions. That would be dope.
Exactly, right.
Which I always wondered why they didn't put that fight on neither of their trilogy undercard. Why didn't they put Marcelo's versus Tommy on the undercard? I'll be interested in that.
Yeah, that's probably Marcelo. I don't know. He's had a pretty rough career so far. So
yeah,
he's been on a couple of PBC. He's gotten beat already, so that's he doesn't have a long shelf life as a boxer. But those are the fights he should be exploring for him. At least get something out of his name before someone else knocks him out.
That's what I'm saying. You get knocked out by nobodies. You might as well get knocked out with a guy who has his last name Fury.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that check gonna be nice.
Right.
All right. I don't want to hold you too much. I just have a couple more questions, and then I'll let you go. You've been very gracious with your time.
That's right, man.
Yeah, no, and it was last minute, so I really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely owe you a couple drinks when you come here to New York.
No problem.
All right. The Roger Gutierrez, Chris Colbert, my Brooklyn brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's a legit fight, and people are saying like, "Oh, Chris Colbert is just going to wipe this guy out." I don't think so. Am I off base by saying this is a competitive fight?
I haven't seen Chris Colbert blow out anyone on Roger Gutierrez's level to believe that would be the case. So maybe it's going to be the type of style where this is going to be the perfect style for Chris Colbert. This could be a breakout fight for Chris Colbert. I can see that happening, but no, he's not going to knock him out in a round or two. If he does, then okay, it's an amazing statement made by him. But no, I think it's a very competitive fight.
Yeah. I'm like Gutierrez got a legit shot. Like I'm not gonna discount. Now, of course, I'm biased as fuck. I'm not one of these people that go, oh, I'm not biased. Dominican fighters and Brooklyn fighters, I'm biased. So, but yeah, I'm rooting for Chris Colbert, but I'm not discounting Gutierrez's chances at all. And as far as Amir Khan Kell Brook, what do you make of that?
I don't know what to make of it exactly. So I'm going that. I'm not covering, so I will predict that. I am kind of going with Khan on that one. I'm kind of even rooting for Amir Khan, but I think it should be a fun. I don't know if it'd be sloppy fight. Khan, he's always one of those guys like he does well just until he doesn't. Yeah, so and Brook is just far enough past to where he doesn't. So I don't know if Brook has enough to knock him out though at this stage of his career, especially making 140 or whatever they're making 149, whatever the catch weight is. But I want to see Khan win because I want to see Khan get at least one more payday. I think Brook this is it for him. I really don't want to see him against anyone else. Nothing against him. I just think he's at that point in his career where another big fight is going to get him seriously hurt.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I want Khan to win. I'm predicting Khan to win. Yeah. I mean, but I don't trust his chin, so who knows? But this guy Kell Brook has taken some of the most savage beatings I've seen, whether it be with Triple G, Spence, Crawford is one of the most violent jabs I've ever seen.
Yeah,
so I'm definitely picking Khan, but I wouldn't be surprised either way because I don't trust Khan's chin anyways.
Yeah, the thing is, I was always curious how that fight would have played out when it was supposed to, because the plan was Brook fought. It was in December 2018. I think it was on Amir Khan's birthday, as a matter of fact. Khan was supposed to be there, and they were supposed to announce Khan Brook. Khan decided instead to go fight Terrence Crawford. So, I always wondered how that fight would have played out if they did actually fight in 2019. I think I would have given Kell Brook a much better shot back then than I do next week.
No, I agree.
So especially Amir Khan is with Ball Max, so I think maybe that might bring something new out of him. So we'll see.
Yeah, no. Getting back to Khan, I remember when they announced Canelo Khan, I thought it was a joke. I was like, I'm not falling for that. I'm like, you guys are playing with me, because I heard it secondhand. Pulled out my phone and saw it was true. I'm like, you got one of the most chinniest fighters I've ever seen. Moving up 2 weight classes and middleweight to fight Canelo, one of the best pound for pound fighters at the time.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
he would just get knocked out savagely. I was like, how did the commission allow that? That was like a disgraceful match that Golden Boy did. I was very disappointed in Golden Boy.
I felt like they did it. I know this isn't the reason they did it, but I felt like the Golden Boy gets very annoyed when reporters keep calling them and asking them about, what fight, especially with Canelo at the time. I feel like they did it just to throw everyone off the scent, because that was the one fight nobody could have predicted Canelo was taking next, especially after beating, Miguel Cotto. You'd think he's going to fight a real middleweight next. Nobody saw that coming. So,
no, 100%, 100%. All right, Jake, thank you so much for your time.
I was actually more irritated. Yeah, no problem. I will say, going back then, I remember I was more irritated at the time that we already saw Canelo Khan, and then Triple G wound up fighting Kell Brook. That, for some reason, that irritated me even more, though. It's like all he's doing is the same thing we do.
No, I totally agree. And I'm damn, I didn't even put the two and two together. Like, Triple G and Canelo, they're both kind of rivals. And Canelo knocked out Khan and Triple G knocked out Brook, and them two are kind of rivals. I never put two and two together until you just said that. That's interesting. But
crazy.
But getting back to the Brook situation, that's why I don't support Chris Eubank, because Chris Eubank ducked Triple G. Kell Brook stepped up and fought him.
Yeah, and
that's why Kell Brook got his face broken.
He did. So
ever since that, I've never ever been a Chris Eubank Jr. fan. Now, I like how he fights? I actually do, but I just can't. His ducking caused somebody's eye socket, and it really disappointed me in how he reacted. How he ducked. Like, you're not a fighter. The guy had a belt, man. Step in there, prove you the best.
He went to Roy Jones' camp at the start of the pandemic for no other reason than he was supposed to fight Jamal Charlo next. When is that fight happening? So we're going all the way back to our first conversation we had. Jamal Charlo, like, we're waiting for that, next level middleweight fight. That was supposed to be his fight all along, and that never came back around because of Eubank. Eubank's the one who walked away from it.
Yeah, I don't like how he's handled his career, so that's why I can't support him.
Yeah, he almost blew it last week against the guy he dropped 4 times.
Yeah, and didn't even get the stoppage.
Right.
Yeah, I was. He did look good, though. I would say that he did look good.
But I'm with you. I want to see him get that, step up. He was supposed to beat Liam Williams, and he did.
Yeah. Let's see what him and Charlo do. They both available. Apparently, Canelo's not fighting Canelo's not fighting Jamal. So
exactly right.
Hey, you guys both available. Let's make it happen.
PBC still has a path to Chris Eubank. Why not make that fight next? And Charlo beat him, in my opinion.
I agree. I like Charlo in that fight, specifically that power jab, and I do like his defense. I didn't like it too much in his last fight, but in general, I do like his defense. I don't feel like he's defensively irresponsible. So I think he does beat him.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. But all right, Jake, thank you so much for your time. Oh, wait, one last thing. Every time you come on here, I gotta talk about Dominican boxers. You were telling me this guy Starling Castro might be prospect of the year and loses his fight again. In the on Showbox.
First part of the year, no less. So Keith Idek and I, with shows like that, we always divide it up. I said, you know what? Let me just take these guys. All 3 of the guys that I wrote about all lost that fight. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Starling in that fight. That was such a letdown. And he's looked good against, guys that he, should have been 50-50 against. That really threw me off, man. That was a letdown.
Yeah. No, that was a letdown for me. It was 3 Dominican fighting and 2 of them lost. I was like, oh man. At least the main event, Nunez.
Yeah, that was not good enough for DR, man.
What was that?
Yeah, the twist. The twist. I said, it wasn't a good night for DR. Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. But Nunez looked good. I did like what I saw from Nunez. He does have things to work on, but he's really young, so I'm not that concerned. Yeah. All right, for the last time, Jake Donovan, thank you so much. When you come to New York, I'll definitely will link up with you. We'll have a beer or 2. We'll hang out.
Yeah. But if not March 19th, it'll be April 30th. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm hoping that my baby is born a lot before, and that way I'm able to go. All right, thank you so much, Jake.
My pleasure. All right.
Peace. All right, guys. Yeah, yes, Carlos Montes. I do have time for another call in, so you could call in. That was Jake Donovan. He is the vice president of the Boxing Writers Associations of America. He's also one of the lead journalists in boxing scene with probably the biggest boxing website. So So I had him on. There was a lot of questions, as you guys saw. I threw at him. He had answers to all y'all questions. All that questions y'all want to ask me, usually I asked him, and I feel like he answered everything. He didn't duck and dodge any questions. Only, I guess you could say he ducked the question of the predictions, but that's not really like it is a question, but I'm okay with him not giving me. I don't want him to ruin his connections or anything like that. So, but yeah, hopefully you guys are entertained. I feel like most of y'all stood throughout the whole time. Carlos Montes, what's up, my brother?
What's up, man? Can you hear me good?
I hear you perfect, man. What's going on? What you think of the interview?
Hey, bro. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I didn't hear the whole thing because I just got back from the gym, and I was actually listening to your podcast during the gym, and I heard like bits of it, but like my phone was dying, so I was like, oh shit. So
I feel you.
yeah.
I feel you.
But yeah, bro. I had a good workout, so I had to come back and see if you were still alive. So yeah, I just want to hop on here and talk about a couple things with Canelo, the Spence fight, and the K Taylor and the Menestrano thing.
Yeah, man. Shoot. Go ahead, bro.
Don't want to take too much of your time away, bro. But what's it called? Yeah, bro. Like now that this Spence and Ugas fight, like it got announced, I didn't really get to hear your thoughts about it. But like, what do you think, bro? You think this is like good fight for Spence, or do you think Ugas, or do you think Spence is gonna just make easy work?
Well, I don't think it's easy work for either fighter. But
For
I
sure.
will say, with Spence, I always have to be like, I don't know how much he can make that weight. I also don't know if that eye surgery, it went well. I don't know if it's going to give out during the fight. Also, Danny Garcia didn't really put up much of a fight against Spence, and you can say like, well, that's because Spence was putting it on Danny Garcia, but like, what has Danny Garcia done since then? I don't think he's fought since then, and he was kind of on the downside. So this is a real wild card, but it's a competitive fight. It's for 3 belts in the welterweight division. It's in the Ring Magazine. This is 2 versus 3. So this is a legit fight. But again, I don't know how much Spence got left in the tank,
Yeah, bro, for sure. It's just really sad, honestly, man. It's unfortunate that ever since that whole car accident thing, like I'm not saying his career went totally down, but like Justin, like I don't know, you could see like something about him just like change, which is like obvious because that was like life threatening. But like I don't know, man. I really hope that he can prove people wrong and like he can like come back and he could like maybe even become undisputed and be like I'm still that guy. But I honestly, bro, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Even though I think Spence is gonna win, I have like a small feeling that I might see an upset. I don't know what it is, bro. I honestly don't know.
Amen. Listen, Ugas was a bronze medalist in the Olympics. Ugas has fought Pacquiao, Porter, Jamal James. Ugas has a lot of experience. You know what I'm saying? And he's a good fighter. I honestly believe that Jordanis Ugas has a legit shot. Do I think he wins? I haven't made my prediction. Once my prediction video is out, you guys can check it out there. But I don't see him as an easy fight. I don't see this as a tune-up. He has a belt for a reason.
For sure, bro.
And on top of that, I'm sorry to cut you off. Spence is coming off a long layoff. His last fight was December of 2020. That's almost 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, bro. What's it called? Now, one thing I gotta give Spence absolute props for, not like these other fucking fighters. This dude has got some fucking balls, bro. Coming off a layoff like that, he could easily take on, like someone like like a tune-up fight or whatever. He said, "No,
Danny Onis or some shit." Yeah.
He said, "Fuck that! I'm coming back and I'm going for the belt, man. I don't give a fuck." Even after the car accident, even though Danny Garcia, like he wasn't like a top welterweight at the time. He's still not an easy fight either, bro. He could have came back and fought like another, like he could have fought like whoever. He came back, fought Danny Garcia, dominated him, and now he's coming off back after like a year and a half, I think, and now he's fighting Ugas. Like, bro, come on, man. Like, this dude gotta get props, man.
I got respect for him. Him. He definitely is not ducking and dodging. You look at his resume. He fought Danny Garcia. He fought Sean Porter, and now he's fighting Jordanis Ugas. And I just wish he would fight Terrence Crawford, and hopefully they could get the business right so that fight could happen. But yeah, as far as that's how I feel about the fight, basically. Errol Spence is a wild card. I also don't know how long he can stay at 147. Man, he's a big dude to keep shrinking down. I don't know. I don't know.
For real, man. But yeah, like moving on from that, bro. What's it called? So now that it's almost not yet almost official, like what do you like the Canelo and Bivol fight? Because I'll be honest, man. Like I don't know too much about this Bivol dude, but from what I heard you say, like is he really like like a boring fighter like that? Like no one really cares about him. Like he's not popping like that.
Bro, you don't even you a hardcore boxing fan, and you just said you don't know who's Bivol. You don't know a lot about Bivol. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the reason you don't, his last fight, he's a world champion, and his last fight was in Russia in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
His home country, 1,000 people. You think motherfuckers in the US know him?
Nah, definitely
You
not.
get what I'm saying? If you're not known in your home country, I don't understand why, for the life of me, Canelo would go this route. Now, again,
Yeah.
Jake Donovan, he told me that for this 2-fight deal, Canelo may be guaranteed up to $100 million for both fights, not just one. If that's the fucking case, I can't blame Canelo. How do you turn down $100 million for 2 fights and 2 winnable fights, as opposed to going the Charlo route, maybe getting 45 million at most for one fight against a guy who's younger and fresher than a Triple G. And I don't know if he's younger than Bivol, but I definitely want to say he can give more. It's probably as competitive as Bivol, but the thing is with the Bivol fight, Canelo's moving up in weight, and this guy, he's a boxer, so he may be able to stink out the fight. I'm not a fan of this fight at all, and I haven't met one boxing fan who has said like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited for that Bivol Canelo fight."
Yeah, bro.
Nobody.
Yeah, I'm obviously just gonna obviously me and you, obviously we're gonna watch it. Obviously me because I'm a big Canelo fan, and I want to see him win all his fights, obviously. But like apart from like his personality and like not getting that mainstream media, like what about his fighting style? What do you think about his fighting style? You think Canelo makes him easy work, or what do you think?
No, I don't think it's easy. I think the fight looks somewhat similar to the Billy Joe Saunders fight. I'm not saying Canelo's gonna break his face,
Yeah.
but I'm more saying like Bivol will have success in the earlier rounds, but everybody has success against Canelo in the earlier rounds until he figures you out and then breaks. But the whole time until the whole time he's figuring you out, he's banging that body. He's breaking you down. He's breaking you down. And coming to later rounds, he's gonna stop you. He did that to Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant has success, but he was just ripping that body the whole fight. And then come that 11th round, he thought he was going for the body. He just threw that left hook to the head and knocked him out. So it's like that's kind of somewhat how similar. I see that the fight going that route, but it's like it could be boring because of what Bivol might choose to do in the ring. But there's definitely not going to be a lot of interest. It won't be good for his career. It won't be good for his stock to go back to the zone. Jake Donovan also said that this fight may be on a pay-per-view.
Oh hell nah, bro.
It's like, come on, man. So the zone, you're gonna make me pay my monthly, and I don't pay monthly, I pay for the full year. But point is, you're gonna make me pay for the full year, and you're gonna charge me pay-per-view. Get the fuck out of here.
Nah, man. Come on, nah, bro. Yeah,
now with the Triple G fight, Jake said he wasn't a big fan of it because he don't look at it as a competitive fight. But I'm actually okay with that fight because that fight has a storyline to it. Triple G is an older guy. I kind of want to see him get his last payday too.
And bro, yeah, like sorry if I almost cut you off, but like ever since that Triple G fight, I mean, maybe because Triple G is obviously a little bit older, but I mean, you've seen like how both of their careers have gone. Canelo has only gone up, fam. Even though Triple G hasn't lost into Canelo fight, let's be honest, some of his
he hasn't been fighting nobody.
Some of his fights haven't been, the best. Like the Deryanchenko fight, if I'm not pronouncing his name wrong, you can disagree with me if you want, but I thought he fucking lost that fight, if I'm being completely honest. And then the last fight he had, I forgot who it was. I mean, that's me. Like, that's literally saying a lot. Like, I forgot who that was too. And then the guy before that is Steve Rose. Like, nah, bro, come on. Like, and now you're gonna fight Canelo. And what are you, like 40 years old now? Like, yeah, bro, it's not gonna be sweet for you, man. Like, you're gonna get knocked out. That's what I feel like. But hey, it's gonna look good on Canelo's record because he can say knocked out Triple G, but at the same time, it's gonna be like,
yeah.
Oh, he's
Canelo needs to add that to his highlight reel. He got that highlight reel knockout of Amir Khan. Get that highlight reel of Triple G knocking him out because a lot of people feel he lost the first fight, and some people like me feel he lost both fights. So
You thought he lost both fights, man?
I thought he lost both. I got to rewatch
Damn.
the second one because a lot of people bug out when I say that, but I thought he lost both.
I thought like genuinely as a Canelo fan, like from heart, man, like when I read that first fight ended, bro, I was like, oh man, I don't think he won this one. Like me and my whole family were watching it, and when it was a draw, I was like, oh shit, like oh damn.
You're
and
like,
everybody
right.
around me was like, a draw.
You're like,
oh, shit.
Ooh, yeah, draw.
I won't say nothing. And I won't say nothing. And in the second fight, bro, like I was jumping out of my seat when they said that new, bro. Oh my god, bro. I can't even describe to you like how I felt, bro. Because everybody, like not everybody, but most people were fucking doubting him that fight. Because obviously of the allegations of the whole steroid thing, they were all like, oh, he's gonna just win and he's gonna prove why, he should have won the first time. And then Canelo this time comes forward and he gets on his ass, like, bro, yeah. But this time, bro, Triple G might cause some problems again because that fight's always gonna be good. But I think this time Canelo's just he's gonna knock him out.
No. All right. I agree. I think he gets a knockout, but still a fight I want to see. Still a fight I want to see.
Yeah. Hey, what's it called? The final question, bro. Like, what's it called? Bro, like, what is going on with Kambosos and Devin Haney, bro? Like, man, like, these dudes are just talking on Twitter and they're not fighting, bro.
Yeah. Basically, what I asked Jake about this, Jake Donovan, and basically what he said is there's a lot of posturing going on as far as the fight, but that George Kambosos really wants to fight either Lomachenko or Devin Haney next. He really didn't give me too much on it because I guess there's not much to report on. But I hate the fact that there's this back and forth, and I don't know if Devin Haney's outpricing himself or if Kambosos is pricing himself out. But it seems to me that the biggest problem is that Kambosos is totally unwilling to fight his next fight outside of Australia. And some of these fighters feel like they have a bigger
like name value.
Yeah, bigger name value. And they're like, yo, bring that shit to America. And I heard Bill Haney, who is Devin Haney's trainer and I guess partner in his promotional company, say that he read that somebody compared living in Australia to being in North Korea, and that there's a bunch of COVID restrictions, and that's why he's hesitant for the fight to be made over there, and he wants the fight to be made in America. So I don't know. As far as if that's a holdup, but that's something that's been brought up.
Damn, yeah, bro. I don't care where they fight. I just want to see them fight because that's a good ass fight. I genuinely don't know who wins that fight, man. That's a good fight.
What fight do you prefer? Do you prefer Kambosos Haney or Kambosos Lomachenko?
I mean, competitive wise, I'd probably say Kambosos Haney because I feel like Lomachenko could. Like, no disrespect to Kambosos because we were saying this about Teofimo and Kambosos, so you never know. Maybe Kambosos can beat Lomachenko, but honestly, man, I feel like Lomachenko would probably dominate him. Bro.
Yeah, nah. Lomachenko, I think Lomachenko smokes him, but
yeah, me too.
But again, I thought the same about Teofimo. So
yeah, me too, bro. So you never know, but honestly, man, like I don't even know if Teofimo he just fought too aggressive and he was just crazy. So yeah,
if Tio gets his head together and maybe adds Joey Gamache back to his corner, or I heard that he's gonna be having Eddie Reynoso as an assistant trainer. If he gets a second to help him out, I think he'll be okay.
Nah, for sure, man. I just want to see him win again.
Just for sure. I totally agree.
Yeah.
But all right, Carlos,
man, you have a good one.
Thank you so much for the call, my brother.
For sure, man. Always good to call in, bro. You have a good one.
All right, same to you. All right, bye. All right, I'll answer this question. What's up, my guy? What is the biggest fight that never materialized in boxing history, in your opinion? Probably Lennox Lewis Riddick Bowe. Box Talk 101. Yo, bro. They be asking about you, man. They said, like, yo, when we gonna go live together again? And I told him, yo, hit up Box Talk. Let him know that you guys want him back. Matter of fact, it was Carlos Montes and Michael Blunt that asked about you. They in the chat right now. So there you go. Put that pressure on Box Talk when I'm gonna be on his show or when he's gonna be on my show one of these days. Hit him up. But shout out to Box Talk 101, my man Freddie. Australia was on some serious lockdowns at one point. Not sure where it's at now, but it was bad. Yeah, I heard there was a tennis player who went to Australia and they sent them back because he wasn't vaccinated. But Devin Haney has said that he's willing to get vaccinated in order to fight. If I'm not mistaken, he already has one of the shots, one of the vaccine shots. He's just waiting on. I believe you have to wait 40 days to get the second shot. So, yeah. Yeah, somebody asked me the other day on my IG live. I've been busy. Got to get back on my YouTube live shit. Yeah, man. Let me know, man. If you need some crazy motherfucker back on your live, put me back. Nah, not crazy. But you know, we have a good banter back and forth. So if you need me on your show, I'm more than willing to go on your show. You know for sure. You got my number. Just hit me up. The next UFC main event should have been in Australia, but there's a lot of restrictions. Interesting. I did not know that UFC was going to have an event and wasn't able to, make the event due to the fact of restrictions. That's interesting. So maybe Bill Haney does have a point that, hey, listen, it's not that we're not willing to fight in Australia. You guys got crazy restriction, which, come on, man. Like, yo, if you a healthy young person who's vaccinated, from what I understand, as long as you wear a mask, you good. I don't understand this thing. And plus, if you're fighting in a stadium, isn't it outdoors? Is it like you could eat outdoors? I know that being outdoors is better than being indoors. I don't know, but let's hope they can figure it out, because I do want to see the fight. I feel like they holding up the division, especially since Kambosos has all the titles. So that shit ain't moving around. That shit is not being defended. It's just like stagnant. It's collecting dust. Yo, bro, you got all these belts. Defend them. Don't let them just sit there collecting dust. You don't want to go in the ring holding your belts? I don't know. But guys, I'm about to jump off real quick. I'll give you guys a last minute chance if you guys want to hop on and make a call, ask me any questions. I may have a lot of answers to your questions because I threw a lot of questions at Jake Donovan, and I have made notes. And even through my notes, I just kept coming up with questions and asking. So if you guys want to ask me any questions, whether it be in the chat or through a phone call, now's your time to do it. I'm about to hop off soon. I'm going to go to the gym. Say I'm working out back and shoulders, man. Fucking back and shoulders. Trying to get my muscle game right. Yo, I'm going to be brolic come June, man. Just in case, you know why I'm going to be brolic come June? Just in case one of these boxes come up to me, because I talk shit about them on on my YouTube channel. I want them to be like, you know what? Let me just go pull him to the side and just talk, not come at me on some aggressive shit. Nah, I'm joking. I'm just working out to get healthy. But yeah, man. Let me see if any news has broken. Oh, Andre Ward versus Canelo. Who wins? Listen, I'm a big Canelo fan. As y'all know, I stay on here talk about. But Canelo wasn't fucking with Andre Ward. Andre Ward would have beat him. And the thing is that Andre Ward is just so crafty. He would beat him and push him and use his jab. And I feel like Canelo sometimes is a slow starter. And Andre Ward would look for ways to not get hit to the body, the inside game. I don't know. I honestly, besides Roy Jones, I don't think I pick anybody against Andre Ward at 168. I think he's the second greatest. Well, I think he is the greatest super middleweight of all time. I was gonna say Roy Jones, but he wasn't at 168 long enough. Now, do I think Roy Jones is better than Andre Ward? Absolutely. I think Andre Ward gets knocked out by Roy Jones, but he wasn't at 168 long enough for me to consider him the best. I think Andre Ward is the best 168 of all time. I really do. Yo, he went through that tournament, didn't take a loss, then moves up to 175 and beats Kovalev twice, and the second time knocks him out. I got a lot of respect for Andre Ward. I just think that he could have reached higher peaks had he kept going, but he decided to retire for whatever reason, his family situation. I'm glad he's healthy, doesn't have no brain damage. I actually spoke to Andre Ward before. I DM'd him like, yo, bro, you need to make a comeback. He DM'd me back, like saying, like, nah, I'm good. I don't need it. I was like, bro, but you could fight Canelo, make a lot of money, and I think that's a winnable fight for you. He was like, oh, I made enough money or something like that. So he was actually real cool enough to respond to my DM. So yeah, I do think that Canelo loses to Andre Ward. I really do. But all right, guys, that's my live for today. Looks like nobody wanted to call in. I gave you guys the last minute chance. I appreciate you guys who stood throughout the whole live and my interview with Jake Donovan. And again, I may be going live every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So stay tuned for that. I've been doing it the last 2 Fridays. I kind of like that. I kind of had a lot of fun with it. And then again, come Saturday, I'm gonna do something called Story Saturday. I'm gonna give you guys a story about my life. It may be about boxing one week. It may not be about boxing another week. But it's gonna be a bunch of cool stories about my life. So this Saturday, it's not gonna be a live. It's just gonna be a video. I may do a live one day if it's a long story that requires me a long breakdown, but yeah, no. Come Saturday, I got a video coming out for you guys. But all right, guys, till next time, peace.